Okay, we're live.
Damn, they're saying Pacquiao. Did Pacquiao fight tonight?
I didn't know he even boxed.
I have no
He was long
idea.
retired.
It says that it came Pacquiao WBC welterweight title it's a draw.
Oh, there's a delay, echo delay. Oops, it's me. There we go. Sorry about that. That was me.
Yeah, they said it was they said it's a draw between them in that deal.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Pacquiao fight. I've been hearing about what's his name? What's that Mexican boxer's name? Canelo Alvarez.
You talking about Canelo?
Canelo fighting and all that. He's fighting the undefeated boxer.
He's gonna knock the shit out of him.
Yeah. Canelo. To me, I see Canelo. He boxed kind of similar to Julio Cesar Chavez, but when he fought Chavez's son, his son didn't fight like him. His son fought mediocre.
Facts.
I liked boxing back in the 80s and 90s, even though I was just a kid.
Me
back
too.
Then,
Me too.
Boxing's a little bit dying sport.
I mean, it's dying if you don't have the people that are good and draw people. It's like when you have good people that draw, like you'll watch it. It's like you see Jake Paul fighting every old fucking guy on the face of the earth.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
Great boxer. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy as hell. Like
nobody want to see that, man.
I mean, he's an amateur boxer. That's what he is. He's not really a professional.
He's a YouTuber fucking using that shit for fucking boxing.
He knows he can make a lot of money.
He knows he can make a lot of money. He knows he can pull a lot of money. He guarantees
everybody knows
paydays. That's what he does.
Bullshit.
Just like he told Canelo. You know where the money's at, right here. And
Canelo told him he don't make enough money.
Yeah, and he didn't give a fuck about it.
Canelo would, in my opinion, Canelo would kill him, even though he's not as big. Because Canelo's only about 160 pounds, and I know Jake Paul is like a little bit over 200 pounds.
I mean, if Jake Paul fought a lot of real fighters, he'd get fucking killed, So
yeah, they told Tyson was sandbagging. A lot of the fighters he fought were all sandbagging on purpose, Even that Herschel Walker, he boxed him. They were showing him how, I was seeing the YouTube. They were showing him how he made a little signal and he left himself wide open on purpose to get knocked out. I was like, God dang.
Salute, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Salute,
We'll get started in like 2 minutes. In 2 more minutes, we'll start up.
Yeah, a lot of these boxings. I mean, if you think about it, boxing was originally, staged originally, to make money. A Kansas City Queen pad.
Yeah, I think if you have the right people, I think that's why UFC just beats everything these days, because people just beat the living shit out of each other. I mean, pretty much what people want to see. I mean, when you're looking at boxing, it's just not the same. I mean, Tommy, I think Tommy bet $1 million on Jake knocking this dude out, though. I think that's what the bet was, $1 million for this dude. Knock him out, but I don't know if he got in a ring with Tommy Fury, he'd murder him probably.
Tommy Fury would kill Jake Paul. Jake Paul had no business fighting him.
Fuck you. That's what I'm saying. He would murder him.
Yeah. There's some other guys I would say Jake Paul should fight. He should not fight any professional boxer. There's this guy. I forgot what his name is. He's a
Yeah, his brother, his
Austin.
brother's in the WWE. Jake
Oh,
Paul
that's
brother,
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, he's
wrestling
the older
self.
brother.
No wrestling self. Yeah, he got knocked out in Atlanta last week by Jelly Roll.
Who was it?
Jelly Roll knocked him
Logan
out.
Paul. Yeah,
He knocked
Logan Paul got yes, they had 3 events in Atlanta. And Saturday night's main event was one of them. And he got knocked out in the ring by Jelly Roll. And
The
then
singer?
Jelly Roll took over for Jimmy on the Jimmy Kimmel show. You know, he was interviewing Randy Orton, then all of a sudden you got Drew McIntyre want to start some mess with Randy Orton.
Salute.
Then Rudy, they were finna go to commercial. And then Logan Paul want to start some mess with Jelly Roll, so he gonna slap him. Next thing you know, Jelly Roll had choke slam Logan Paul through the desk. So now it's a tag team match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. I was like, come on, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, ain't it? And then
it's just money, bro. It's all about money. How they can funnel money into certain deals. I mean, is what it is.
Then get this, because SummerSlam gonna be in New Jersey. Guess who's gonna be hosting SummerSlam? Y'all. One of the biggest hoes that ever was. She was a stripper. Now she's an entertainer. You know who I'm finna say? Cardi B.
Cardi B, yeah. That crazy Dominican chick.
Yeah.
But she has $1 billion OnlyFans company. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because she sold her Punani. She sold her Punani to everybody.
Look, she can't complete a sentence without cursing.
Yeah.
She skipped English. She skipped reading.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
I don't know if she's bilingual or not. You think, some people are bilingual. They don't have
reading in English and still made $1 billion. I think
Yeah. I mean, her voice just get on my nerves.
I ain't gonna lie, she annoys the hell out of me, man.
Her voice get on my nerves more than Jennifer Lopez.
No.
No, more than Rosie Perez.
You said that.
I'm like Chris Jericho. Good God, Cardi B, would you please shut the hell up? Oh my God.
Yeah.
She just got that voice that get on your nerves. Like you had a teacher in high school. I mean, every time you took her, like for that teacher for class, and she spoke, that teacher with voices that get on your nerves. Hey, man, I'm like, oh my God, jeez. Yeah. And you got 3 kids, That's somebody I wouldn't want to bring around my family.
Single mom.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you can have whatever you want. You can go buy a dad if you want. I mean, fuck that.
Exactly.
That's the kind of money they got. They got the kind of I'll buy a dad fucking money, So,
yeah, it's crazy.
They can rent them on the weekends, fucking. That way they don't gotta listen to them through the week. I mean, fucking, that kind of shit. I mean, that's the only thing about today's generation is it's taken care of by money. Like that's why I always said, like the saying goes, like every 4th generation fucking gets weak because the first generations struggle and have to work for it. Second year generations get to take profit from what they're doing. Third gets to reap from all of them. Fourth just gets it all, and then usually revert back as they spend it all. So I mean, fucking, like they say, life gets weak, but is what it is. But outside of that, we're gonna get started. So pretty much appreciate all you guys showing up here tonight, man. Really do appreciate it. Salute to the chat, salute to the mods in the chat, man. Salute to everybody here on the panels, and Harvey and Rudy and Ozzy will be here pretty soon. We're gonna have a few things to basically talk about, a bunch of topics. all rolled up into a few of them. So outside of that, if you guys want to give a shout out, feel free to give a shout out.
Hey, what's up, everybody out there? Raider Nation is the #1 Raider stunner. What? Thank you very much, Dustin, for letting me join you live. What's up, Rudy? What's up, Ozzy? Soon to come in later, and everybody else in Raider Nation out there. And just win, baby.
Oh yeah.
All right, Rudy, you're next, man.
Yeah, shout out to everybody, Raider Nation. It's getting that big itch for the preseason to come up. We want to see the preseason and the regular season, see how our team looks. Want to see how we play on offense, defense, special teams. Hopefully, we can get things together. It's going to be a process. Remember, Jack Del Rio took the Raiders. It took them 2 years to take the Raiders to the playoffs, even though we didn't win it. But you know, it takes time. People got to realize you can't just. Much as I hate to say, like what Mark Davis said, which is kind of true. Rome wasn't built in one day. Kind of true in that perspective, but winning a playoff ain't going to happen in one season for us. We're not quite there yet, but hopefully we'll get there pretty soon.
All right, go, bro. Heck yeah, man. So basically, we're gonna start out now. Go, get up, go. So basically, we're gonna start out with basically camp battles, man. We're gonna be hitting here. Veterans will be here on the 22nd for the Raiders, so everybody will start piling in. Rookies are already here, been here since 17. So we got a bunch of good players that are sitting here in the background, UDFAs, guys that are obviously the Raiders want them to pick up in here, you know, and so long. So at the end of the day, I'd probably start out. We can just start out with Sam Webb. So basically, through this whole entire time, people have been talking about getting a slot corner, needing to go out and get corners, this, that, the other. You know, Sam Webb's been here for multiple years. He left last year, went to the Panthers, didn't work out over in the Panthers. He ended up coming back over here. Inside the scheme, he's done pretty good. Hasn't been too bad of a player, but obviously not the greatest player either. But like I've always, with Pete Carroll and the kind of coaching staff that they bring and offer to this team, you can develop guys like him that just need the finishing touches now, be in the right positions, know that they don't have to cover the whole field, only a section of the field, just play their area, you know. I think Sam would be a good option. He's a bigger player. He can most definitely cover ground. I think he can play pretty well. He hasn't been injury prone over the years. I mean, I think when you're looking at teams that want to push playoffs and try to win Super Bowls, it's teams that can basically not be injury prone, you know, throughout the year. And I'm not going to sit and say that anybody can't be injury prone at any given time in the year. It can go for Max, can go for anybody. But I've always said if it's an 80-20 and, you know, probable that 80% you'll be healthy, 20% that you may get injured, then I'm all good with that. You know, I don't want to go with a guy like Jacorian Bennett where his is like a 50-50, you know, like I don't think when you have a player that's played for 2 years, missed damn near a whole entire season due to injury, and then you're trying to bank your playoff or your futures to that type of player. I don't think it's a very smart idea, especially if you're trying to be a competitive, competing team. There's nothing wrong with them staying on the team. There's nothing wrong with them being here, but for me, until he can show that he can be healthy and not get injured, you got to be able to depend on other players. So outside of that, I think, like I said, if Sam Webb can show up inside this camp, prove that he can go out there and take over that slot position, I mean, I'm telling you, man, we can have a pretty good deal. Like my starting lineup, man, I mean, if you're playing Webb in the slot, if we were able to get the Camryn Richardson and Porter in the outside, man, you're talking about 6'2", 6'3" corners running a 4-3 40 man press corners on the outside. That's going to be fucking tough for any damn team to try to beat, man. And then you got Sam Webb, that's kind of a similar type player on the inside that can jam you, get on you, press on you. I mean, you got to remember, I mean, I think the Chargers drafted a 6'6" tight end. You got Kelsey. You got good players in here in that inside position that can most definitely hurt you if you put too small of a guy like we've done over the years with frickin' Joyner and so on like that. Like, I don't think like for me, I've said it, the coaching staffs in the past, they haven't been pro dominant like a Pete Carroll defense is, man. Like Pete Carroll's defense is straight up, get in your face, jam you at the corner, play big. I was reading a deal today and it shows like what the Chargers got 48 players that are signed at 6'2" or taller on their team. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where the hell did you find 48 6'2" players that are all on your damn team? That's easily going to be the biggest damn team in the whole NFL. Like, I mean, if I was guessing, I would have to say that Chargers would have one of the tallest teams in the whole NFL all the way across the board. So that's kind of nuts when you look at shit like that, you know? So to me, I think the key to winning in these type of games or in this type of division is to play tall, take away receivers, freaking force people to have to go inside and outside, but in the drags and in the freaking wheel routes, you know, start using different type plays. When you have smaller dudes based up on bigger guys, dude, I've always said, you just throw the fucking ball up. Motherfucker jump right up in the air and take the ball from this little dude. Like, what's he fucking doing? He's ball sack high, and they think he's going to go out there and get that, defend that guy. I've always thought has to be the craziest shit. You know, it was like Amik Robinson. Amik Robinson can have good plays here and there, dude. But when it comes down to dude fucking facing up with him in the end zone, unless Amik can just grab him and fucking run him to the outside, you know, throw him out of bounds, like he's not contesting those 6'4" dude. Like it's not happening. And if you get lucky every now and again on one, I mean, kudos to you. But when you're playing statistics throughout 4 quarters, the whole, you know, 17 games, 21 total if you're going to a Super Bowl. I mean, I think I think anybody can get burned, anybody can have deals, but I think in today's league having 6'2" or taller corners is damn near a plus. Is damn near a plus if you're going to try to succeed in this division, let alone in the league. So if you watch the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles just dominated the hell out of that line, dude, with their big ass players up there in the Super Bowl. And I think you're going to try to win this division and try to, you know, have any type of success like that. They already showed you how to do it. You can just eliminate these guys. You think when they want to put up 22 that they just went out there and was like, oh shit, we're done? No, fucking, I think in the second quarter, dude, it was like freaking 24-0. You know what I mean? They're over there talking about, they're like, Tom Brady fucking scored, man, we can too. Like, yeah, bullshit, you got scored on again. Like, they give them points at the end of the game, man. Like, I don't think that at those points when you're just beating on a dude that much in those deals, but outside of it, they showed you how to do it. And I think if you're going to try to take this division or win, I think Pete Carroll's defense can most definitely do it, in my opinion. But what do you guys think about Sam Webb competing for the slot corner position?
Well, I think he has the size. I mean, he's got good size. He's 6'2", a little bit under 200 pounds. He's got those big shoulder pads. Man press, he doesn't do well in man press. He's more of a zone coverage DB. But you know, like I said, he would probably stay a lot healthier in the nickelback situation than playing outside corner. I don't think he's a good outside corner, but I think he'd probably do better as a nickelback or convert him to a safety. But we're already good on safety, so it can't hurt for him to try out for the nickelback position. But I'd suggest him get smaller shoulder pads. He's got those same shoulder pads that Tim Brown had in it. You know, it makes it hard to knock balls out because when I think he probably has a shoulder problem injury. That's like what Tim Brown had, which makes it hard for him to extend his arms because those shoulder pads, they look like they belong to a tight end or something. But man, he looks bigger than his actual size. You know, I mean,
yeah, he's big, man. Like when you see him out there, I said that shit. He looked like a linebacker at the damn cornerback position.
It's those shoulder pads.
Yeah,
bigger. He's 200 pounds. He's not really. I mean, he's a tall guy, tall, lanky guy. You take those shoulder pads off, but when you put those pads on, he looks like he's 230 pounds, but he's really just barely 200 pounds. I mean, he's a good size corner, nickelback, but I just say those shoulder pads need to get a little smaller so he could extend those arms better. I think that's what he has problems with. That's why he fits better in his zone. And we are kind of playing I think it's like a hybrid cover 2, cover 3 defense, So we'll play a little bit of man press and zone. We play a little both, but he's more zone than he is. I would not put him in man press. I think he'd get burned. And in fact, it was proven, like when we played against the Rams with against Baker Mayfield, we had that game beat. And then what did he do? Throw a deep ball pass, and Sam Webb got burnt ugly. He can't play man press coverage. He plays better in the zone, so he doesn't get burned real ugly, because he's not a really fast corner. He probably has at best average speed, but we'll have to see. I think nickelback would be the better position than outside corner for him. Just like Nate Hobbs, he fit better as a nickelback better than an outside corner. But we've always had problems with the outside corner situation. So hopefully this will get resolved, and that's where Pete Carroll has been great at, fixing up corners and safeties and linebackers. That's always been what he's been great at.
What do you think, Harvey?
I think Sam Webb can do better as a nickelback. Like you said, being 6'2" and weighing that he weigh, the only con that he has is them big shoulder pads. I think you need to get the right kind of shoulder pads so he can get good length, when he goes up for an interception, because it seems like the ones that he have is preventing him from knocking passes down or getting interceptions. But all in all, he's good to me. I think he'll make a better cornerback in the nickelback situation, nickelback position. Let's get the right shoulder pads. That's all I want him to do.
Hell yeah. So basically just want to talk about the defensive line for a minute and the players that are down there, especially now that we have Christian Wilkins put on the PUP list. So basically he has till week 5 to be able to return back into the season. Otherwise they go on IR for the rest of the year. He believes that he's going to be here in the beginning in week 1. He's posted out of his own self that he believes he will be ready for week 1. It's more of a precaution that he stays in the boot, does the drills, things of that he can, but not participate in the actual drills. Probably meant exercise. So for me, when you're sitting there looking at the line at the moment, I've spoke about this for a while, that I've always looked at Tyree Wilson as a defensive tackle, just like I've said, where I feel like Cleveland Farrell's success is moving him inside and outside. If they would have just kept him inside, when you demand double team like those guys do because of their skill sets and because of who they are, you can't leave them on a one-on-one in the inside, because they're going to probably beat their guy more times than not. In the outside edges usually come down to speed or just straight fucking pure dominance, where you face up with a guy and you can just run them straight down backwards just as fast as they say hi. If you're playing a guy that doesn't have the speed and he's on the outside and he faces up with a dude and he's trying to get on and off and he gets off and dude can go start running around, it's a lot harder for that type of player to be able to get after the quarterback. You need guys that have speed for damn sure. And I think like with Tyree, I think he's got great speed. I think he's got strength like a motherfucker. I mean, I think that's where his most, like for me, that's his strongest trait is his strength. So I think if they were able to put him back to the inside, let him play in the 4-3 inside DT as the second option, obviously not the main NT, that'd be Butler. But outside of that, people would say, well, man, if you do that, then you're taking away from the outside. Well, look, dude, there's this guy that's on our team, Jaw Joyner. The dude's been doing phenomenal through camp. When he was through here in the beginning, in the last mandatory camps and OTAs, Jaw Joyner has just been showing up like a bat out of hell. And this guy's a really good player, dude. And he has connections with Cody Lindenberg from Minnesota. And they're both here on the team. One as a linebacker, one as an edge. And but I think if it was me, I would probably try to push to the outside with Lindenberger and Snowden to be rotational players, move Wilson inside because we don't want to get beat on the run, man. Like if we start getting beat on the run, especially against the Chargers, getting Hampton, if Nigel's eye injury doesn't affect him that bad and he gets to come back in there. Plus, they still have two other good halfbacks that are on the team. It's going to be just a never-ending run the fucking ball game with them, and you can't do that. Like you got to prepare for both scenarios of a pass-heavy team versus a run-heavy team, and everybody knows that Harbaugh has always loved to run the football and play action off of it. I mean, he's done it with frickin' JJ McCarthy. I mean, numerous people that's been underneath him. He is just a run the fucking ball down your throat type coach. And I think when you look at his halfback class, you have to do what's best for, basically us is like you put a Tyree up on the line, dude, you're going to force double team and they can't just man over him. And then that's going to give your linebacker able to fill into the hole, dude, be able to pick up where the player is, not be facing a leading fucking dude punching the fucking hole because they just ran your whole fucking line over. I think Malcolm Kuntz, man, the way that he is, I think Kuntz is ready to go. I think Kuntz has been ready to go. I think Kuntz is going to be just damn fine. I've seen every single deal with him in camp so far. I haven't seen him stressing on it. You don't see him favoring shit. You don't see him hesitating when he's out there making moves. Like he was playing at a pretty high level, even in OTAs and mandatory camp. He was playing in, pretty damn good high level. So I don't know if his is going to matter, and I don't think Max is going to matter. Max is just the engine that never fucking quits. I mean, that guy just goes. So I think, and you're looking at Snowden. Like the thing about me, I don't like Snowden is Snowden's a veteran player. He's been here. He's been able to play pretty okay, but it's the drinking. You don't know if this dude's going to fucking go out in the middle of the year because we're losing and fucking go drink again. I mean, I can see this guy being like our worst nightmare, that if we made it to a Super Bowl and he turned in to be like that dude that was on the offensive line when we went to Super Bowl and he went to Mexico,
Robbins.
Yeah, shit like that. Like I don't like things like that. And I've always said I played football for a long time. I was really good at it. I just think that what you got to be committed to where you're at, man, regardless of win, loss, or whatever you're doing. And that's why I like Max as much as I do. Things of those factors. But I like fucking I like what's his name, fucking Chasen, man. I would have kept Chasen over fucking over Snowden in a heartbeat, but it is what it is. But outside of that, what do you guys think about the line?
I agree that Chasen, he got revived by us because he was looking like a bust for Jacksonville. I do agree to an extent where Tyree Wilson, he is a power rusher, but I would not use him in the run stop on third and short in the running game as a tackle. I'd rather use him as an end. But on third and long, he's perfect for a defensive tackle because, like, if you're facing a team like the Cowboys or the Eagles, their big O line, they will push him. They will bulldog his ass. They'll use their size, and they usually have this is why people say they have an unfair advantage with any team because they have one of the biggest O lines. Basically, the Eagles have the biggest O line in the NFL. They use their size and power, and they will bully people that are under 300 pounds, and even 300 pounds because their average offensive line size is 335 pounds. Our biggest O line, I believe, lineman is like barely like 320 or 330, and they have a really big offensive line. But third and short, I would use Tyree Wilson as an end. Third and long, most definitely use him as a tackle because when you do that run stop, especially running in the middle, all the old linemen got to do is use their weight and push these guys out of the way. That's all they got to do. It's not always strength. It's weight and power, and that's all they do. Yeah, Tyree Wilson can overpower old linemen when it comes to the pass block, where he has to get double covered because he's a lot quicker on the inside, when he's going in. But that's against the pass blocking, where he's very good. But the run though. It's different because the offensive linemen block a different way instead of going backwards like they normally do in pass blocking. They go forward because they don't want to go forward in pass blocking because if they do that, they leave a lane open and then the quarterback gets sacked really easy. So they always do is block and they, go backwards just so that they can keep an eye on the quarterback so they don't keep him from getting sacked. But in the run block, though, he could get overpowered really easy as a tackle. But defensive end, he's got a good size defensive end on the run stop. But like I said, if it's like 3rd and 10, I would have him as a tackle. But if it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, I would put him as a defensive end and get your fat guys, 300-plus pound guys inside so you can stop them because like the Cowboys or the Eagles, they're going to run the ball down your throat. They don't give a shit if you know they're going to run the ball. They're like, we're going to get it anyway. We don't need to get big yards. All we need is 1 yard. We got a first down. That's what they do. They like to naturally bully their way. And the one thing you got to do is match weight for weight, power for power. Because if you're underweight, you're a D lineman or underweight in the run stop, the O line's going to win that battle every single time. That's why the Eagles have been successful in the run. Why Saquon Barkley looked like a great running back because of the great blocking, So, yeah, I would still, like I said, Tyree Wilson, that's why what he is a rotational player, plays end and tackle. He's a high player, just like Clelin Ferrell originally was too, So, yeah, I would just get the big guys. We need to get these big guys involved. Yeah, we need to get the big guys involved in the short, like 3rd and short. But when it comes to, yeah, like you said, the pass block, 3rd and long, definitely have Tyree Wilson in. I think, and he's shown some very pass rush where he doesn't even have to get to the quarterback. Just him pass rushing allows other players to get opened, and he's more like a support. With support, the defensive ends or another tackle will get him, or a blitzing linebacker. So he doesn't have to get a lot of sacks. He can get 4 to 5 sacks, or even less than that. He can get 2 or 3, and he can still be very competitive and put a lot of pass rush. Have a lot of pressure. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
What do you think, Harvey?
Well, I think since we're talking about the defensive line, I think defensive line should really work on tackling better. Instead of when the running back or the quarterback get the ball in his hand, be there to tackle him right away. Get both hands, not this one, because you got these wide receivers and these running backs are so damn quick. They just shrug off for one tackle. You know what I'm saying? Rap like that. So I think Tyree Wilson, he will be doing a good job if he tackle better. But other than that, defensive line looks straight to me, man. But it's always room for improvement.
Well, yeah. So moving on to the linebackers, frickin' sitting there thinking, you got a pretty stacked linebacking group, man. You have Eldon Roberts, Devin White, Jermaine Pratt, frickin' Tommy Eichenberg, Amari Gaynor, Cody Lindenberg. You got a lot of good people that are on this team right now at the linebacker position, where in the past, the linebacking position for us has always been kind of a weak position. We try to draft, we've tried to bring in people. We get lucky with the guy. I've always said I think a lot of people have some stats kind of mixed up because of the fact that when you get a lot of tackles and you're not doing and you're not doing the production that matches those tackles or the yardage or the drop passes, I've always said, just because you get a lot of tackles doesn't mean that you're a great player. Just a lot of other people didn't fucking tackle the guy, and you were the one in there getting it. Depending on system fit, where you're at, when you're a linebacker and dudes are running up the gut on you and they clear the line, and then you're right there in front of them and you're getting the tackles over and over and over because nobody can stop the run in there. It's just a stat line that kind of served no purpose. Still only got 4 wins here. Instead, you get Jacoby at 0 drops, 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns with 4 fucking wins. Like, the 0 drop rate doesn't matter unless it's for contesting catches in the red zone, where a guy like Terry McLaurin goes into the red zone or has 10 drop passes throughout the season, but he has 13 touchdowns. You know, like, production is looked at in a lot of different ways when those stat lines are matching up. Deal. Ooh, come on, dude, stay up. When you got stat lines that are having productive, how do you say it? Like, you basically the production's matching the stats. Like, you can go out there and have 1,000 yards pretty easy in these days because, one, you got 17 games, and if you're throwing across the middle, just like the NFL is allowing right now, you can just yak up yards all day long if you're getting in slant routes, cross, post routes, things of those factors. You can pick up a lot of yards throughout the season. I think I've said it's 88 yards per game in order to reach 1,000 yards these days. It's not, you know, playing 13, 14, 15, 16 games. You know, 17, you should pretty much be rushing, passing, quarterback. I mean, all those stat lines. So long story short, when we get back to the linebacking position, you're sitting there saying, okay, you got Landon Roberts, you got freaking Devin White, you have Pratt. Like, you know, those 3 dudes right there are your fucking core players. It doesn't matter about Jalen, Tommy, freaking Cody, all those guys. You already know who your core players are. It's those 3 dudes right there, dude. Unless somebody in the background, like a Jalen, like a freaking Tommy or a Cody, somebody's going to have to separate themselves from that deal there, you know. And then you sit here and look at it, you know, Jalen Smith, he gets a camp invite. He's here. A lot of people, you know, in the past, people had been ecstatic to have him here, you know, for what he did with the Cowboys, and then get to come over here. Like, a lot of people would be like, hell, that's a good fucking pick right there. But he's kind of fallen off. People, I mean, I think he was out of the NFL for a year. And he played with us right before he did that. And this is the thing I say about why I've always said he was a trash ass coach is AP brings him in, man. He's supposed to be this linebacker guru. You know, he's supposed to be able to talk and, you know, coordinate these guys, but he ended up cutting that guy. Pete faces this dude one damn time in camp, dude, in the rookie camp, and told him, if you show up here, dude, and you do good, he's like, we'll extend you an invitation to come. And he got it. You know, it doesn't mean that he's going to make it to the end or not. But the difference is I think Pete's like, hey, I think if we can reach his potential of what he was with the Cowboys, this would be another great deal here. But then you have the option weighing right behind him is Tommy Eichenberg, man. That's a really solid fucking piece, Ohio piece, man. I mean, the guy, he's a machine, man. He's tough as fuck. He's a really good player. But then you have Cody Eichenberg, dude, that you know, just gets drafted, comes here, dude, and they're giving him the green dot already. Like, they give him the green dot already as a 7th round pick, dude, and fucking near the 5th or 6th linebacker on this squad right now. And I don't know if they're doing that to be able to test him, see where he's at, you know, say, hey, man, fucking, if we were to give this guy a little bit of time, a year or two, can he ease his way into that deal, you know? But then it makes you kind of wonder, okay, Eichenberg was here last year. He played okay. Not the greatest player, in my opinion, you know, but he played good, and there's always room for development. Why wouldn't you give him the green dot? But you don't give him it. You give it a 7th round pick this year. So it's just kind of, you know, thought wise of where it's going. So I guess what I would say is like, do you guys see Roberts, Pratt, White being your main 3, and then who can you see being cut out of the Smith, Cody and Tommy's situation? Do you think they stay young with the Tommy and Cody and cut Jalen? Do you think you keep Jalen for a little bit of veteran leadership and then try to keep an Eichenberg or Ecklenberg? I mean, it's crazy how there's Eichenberg, but you know, one of those and develop them underneath the veteran, you know. But in my opinion, if it was me, there's a pretty, like, I would cut one of the rookies or the younger players and keep them with Jalen Smith. If Jalen Smith is playing good football, He's been in the situations that have been in big games, and he's won. I mean, I think experience matters a lot when you're playing in those type of positions because you reading defenses, deals. Like I've said, like I don't like cutting young guys because if you look at the Peyton Manning type situations where you come in and you suck, fucking whole year or two, and then you come back out and you just dominate the rest of your life, like it's really hard to determine, can this guy be that guy? Sometimes you just have to stick it out and see, but you can see with the Raiders, man. The Raiders don't give a fuck, man. It doesn't matter. I mean, Aiden's a perfect example, been under three offensive coordinators. Take that out of here now. I already told you. Go. Right. And been under three different coordinators and three different deals, and then finally he gets a good line. He gets a great fucking team. He gets a great coordinator. I mean, he's got great options, and then we're fucking got a guy in Geno, that has fucking 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 9 fucking forced fumbles, 24 total turnovers last year, and we're like, this is the fucking future here, like sometimes people just glorify stat numbers, dude, and it annoys the fuck out of me. I've always said
Me too.
Not for long for a reason, because you're as good as the last game you played. It doesn't matter what you did fucking 5 years ago. It matters what you did last year, the last fucking game of your year. Like how were you playing? Because if we're sitting here saying like, oh, because this guy was good in the past, I mean, that's a Jalen Smith comparison. Then he's here, he was good in the past, and he ain't fucking dominating this shit, So long story short, how would you guys go about the linebacking core? Like I said, would you keep 2 rookies and get rid of the veteran, or would you keep a veteran with the rookie? And are those even your starters?
Well, what I would do, in my opinion, I would keep the veteran, of course, and I would cut one of the rookies. So you can't be the experience that way. The rookie beneath the veteran can learn more from him, so he can get more better as the years go on. That's how I see it. Rudy?
Yeah, linebackers has been always been a good thing for Pete Carroll. He's proved it. His guys that went to our team with Jack Del Rio, because Jack Del Rio had some Pete Carroll guys on his staff before. And we've always, with Jack Del Rio, we had a great linebacker core and D-line core. But it depends on what we see in training camp, because remember, these guys are new. These veterans, they're new to this. And yes, they're proven commodities. But the thing is, though, sometimes they'll look so great on their former teams that they were on. When they come to this team, they don't always play at that high expectation. It depends. I would say the ones that like I would worry about would be like the Devin White. Could be, if he doesn't play at his high expectation, there's a reason why the Buccaneers decide, or whoever had him last got rid of him, is because he's showing some decline. So I would say that none of these veterans are really totally safe. If you think about it, the 3 linebacker core is a veteran core. It's very veteranish. Anybody can get cut. It's the only thing I can make a judgment call is how they play on the field in the preseason, so I get some idea. And they already know they get the idea. I mean, once they play on that field against any opposing team, they will show their worth and see if they can still play at that level. I would say for the Raiders next year, they still will most likely need to draft a linebacker, whether that be in the 1st or 2nd or 3rd round. That's where I would concentrate on linebacker next year. Even with some of these guys, these young guys or these veteran guys may not be on the team, very long. They don't have long contracts. They have very short contracts, and they will need to be replaced eventually within a year or 2. So
I mean, the only guy that really has any type of potential down the road would be Devin White, because he's young. He's still young. He can be here for fucking next 5-7 years.
Yeah, but he kind of declined. It's not maybe his age. It could be an injury or something. something. But
Sometimes player systems and coaching matter. I mean, especially when
people said we could have drafted him in that 2019 time instead of drafting Cleveland Farrell, or people said could have drafted Josh Allen or Devin White, because those guys were a higher draft value than Cleveland Farrell, and we played it too safe, went for a power rusher, which we needed an edge rusher, but we went for the wrong guy. And I had nothing against Cleveland Farrell. I don't think he was a bad player. He just wasn't utilized right, but I would say right now, yeah, you could see any rookie, any younger linebackers getting cut. Most likely, there's a good chance that the 3 veterans will most likely stay. Devin White may not play at high expectation, but he'll play higher than the younger players because he's a veteran. He has more experience, more gameplay, and he'll have that advantage over these youngsters.
Hey, bro. Hi, guys.
Oh, hey, Ozzy.
What, Ozzy?
Hey, guys. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and I'll say it like this. Devin White may not play like he used to, like I said, or you never know. Sometimes players, they'll play washed up, and then when they come back, they're rejuvenated. It's happened before. They play better than before. I think Robertson I think he's the best linebacker, in my opinion, that we got. He's more of a run stock. He's a little bit more like a Denzel Perryman. He's a run stopper. That's what he is, mostly. He's a run stopper. That's what we need to do, is stop the run. Even though we did improve last year in the run stopping compared to the year before, where we were almost dead last, but we still need to improve in the run stop regardless. So I would say right now though, and I know there's that Jermaine, was it Pratt from the Cincinnati Bengals? He looked pretty impressive against us when we played against him when we had Derek Carr during that situation, but people forget that the Cincinnati Bengals were not a very strong defensive team. They have not been a very strong defensive team since Marvin Lewis. They're more offensive than defensive. They throw the ball more than they run the ball. They really aren't as good as the Steelers, the Ravens, and the even the Browns. They're more defensive bound than them. They're the least defensive bound in the AFC North. So I'm very optimistic. I'm not going to say he's going to be bad for us. Well, we know he could play at a better level with us than he did with Cincinnati. So we'll have to see. I don't want to make a judgment call and say because of the energy in Cincinnati where their defense really wasn't that good. But sometimes players. It's the same thing with Nelson Aguilar. I didn't think he would have been a great fit for us because of the drop passes. He was with Philly, but when he came to us, he did a lot better. I mean, he looked like a better receiver. He was a true number 2 wide receiver. So, that's why I don't always say don't count him out completely. I always say don't count him out. So we'll have to see.
Facts. You have anything you want to add on this, Ozzy?
Yeah, man. You guys are talking about the linebacking group?
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably the best linebacking group I've seen in years, man, at least since the early 2000s. That's probably the last time I can think of where we had a good linebacking group like this, where you got, like you said, Pratt, Devin White, and Landon Roberts. Had 3 starting linebackers like that what they bring to the table immediately. Even Devin White, who had a down year. I'm kind of probably a bit higher on Devin White than some people, because I kind of look at it if anyone's going to get Devin White back to form, it's going to be Pete. If Pete can't bring him back to that form that he played with the Tampa in the Super Bowl, then no one else is going to do it. So if Pete can get him back to at least 50% of that, then even Devin White's going to be a solid number 3 behind Landon and Jermaine Pratt. So I'd say that's probably the best linebacking crew we've had in since the early 2000s, I would say. We had some good linebackers during the early 2000s during Gruden's first time.
Hell yeah, he had fucking Morrison and freaking
Morrison, yeah, Kirk Morrison and all that.
I
Yeah,
like those guys. We had the best coverage linebackers back then.
that's
One
facts,
of
and
them-
that's
Bill Romanowski was just a fucking
yeah,
psycho.
Bill. That was my favorite player back then. At linebacker was Bill. I just like the way he light guys up every time, the way he played, getting people's faces and stuff.
Yeah.
Wax, he was the next level fucking guy.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck. He's like, if I play linebacker, that's how I'd play for sure. Just fucking splatting everybody. Don't give a fuck.
So basically, the next topic them be talking about is frickin' Jaw Joyner. I think this guy right here, man, he can be a pretty damn good player here. I think this guy, he's shown all the potential going through camp. He's shown a lot of the potential that he can push his way up in this defensive end core. I believe he can push himself all the way as far as up to right behind Malcolm Kuntz or Max Crosby. The guy's got a 6'4", 262. I mean, the dude's a big boy, man. He's in college. He's ended up with like 4.5 sacks, I think. 4.5 sacks with 32 tackles just in his last year. I mean, the guy is a pretty good, productive player. One thing I noticed with our team is our DNs, man, and the coach that's here, or the coaches that do come here, they do get production out of them right away. I've said if Malcolm Kuntz would have got the start a few years ago, he would have been way farther ahead than where he was. But I don't know why Gruden and John and Josh and them. I don't know what the issue was with them not starting Kuntz. That is probably one thing I would credit AP. Outside of that, I hate AP, but for him to go out there and start Eden and start Kuntz, I mean, I think I wouldn't have seen where they were at or even hear the debate about, oh, can he even push Geno, conversations, things like that, you know. But I think Joyner, for me, he can go out here, he can push that line, he can give better depth in that position, being able to move Tyree inside a little bit more in certain plays and then bring him outside like Rudy was saying earlier on. How do you guys feel about Jaw Joyner? Do you guys know who he is? I mean, do you know, like, how do you
No, I have no idea who he is. So
I don't. He's an undrafted
Me
player
neither.
from Minnesota.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
like you said, he was 6'4", 262. It's a good size.
and what position do
linebacker,
he play?
defensive end.
Oh,
Yeah,
you say he
no,
play
no,
what
no.
position?
plays the end?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good size defensive end. He would be a great rotational player for his size. We'll have to see how he plays. He's undrafted. If he plays really good, then he's a steal for
Yeah, I think he runs a
undrafted player.
4.6 40, dude. Like, he's a pretty fast, pretty strong, pretty big dude. Like, he comes off that edge pretty well. He's been with Max. Max has been helping him, developing him, helping him train. I've always said with Tyree, man, most people don't feel like the injury that Tyree had. They expected him to just come in and play right away when he wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to sit behind Jones for a few years and then take over that position. I've spoke about, man, when Tyree comes into his man body versus a boy body from college, that it's going to be a whole different deal. I mean, I don't know if people have even seen Tyree this year, but this dude's like,
He's spoke out like a motherfucker this year.
I mean, he looks like he turns Samoan, dude. Like, he's just solid, man. Like,
That's why I say they're better using him inside, like rotate him outside sometimes, but I'd use him like most of his snaps inside next to Adam Butler in a 4-3 if it was me.
yeah, and
I would say mostly third and long he would be really good for, because that way he could really put the pressure on third and long. I mean, yeah, you can put him on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10 if they're in pass mode. You know, he fits very well for that. But third and long is where he really should be at.
I agree. And the other thing to add to that is that Tyree can play both. Like, he can play the pass and the run. So he's not a liability at either. Like, he can stay on the field regardless whether it's run or pass, really.
Well, if they're doing an outside run, yeah, he can play inside. But if it's a power rush in the middle for third and short, that like I was saying earlier with the Philadelphia Eagles offense,
Depends on the line you're playing.
They will bully anybody. It doesn't matter it's size that you have to match with them. And if you're like 275 and you're a defensive tackle, you're going to lose that battle. They block differently when they.
Well, Tyree's almost 300 pounds, so he's not 275. Tyree's almost 300 pounds.
Well, he's set up at 277, 280.
No, that's when he was in college. He's like 290 now. Easy.
Well,
DeForest Buckner, and
Aaron Donald, yeah.
Donald weren't 300-pound men, and they dominated all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think it comes down to strength and it comes down to physical
Yeah,
trait.
because size doesn't always matter. It's kind of like when
when you play the Eagles, it most definitely does in the run.
It depends.
Short, though.
Yeah,
They
well, like I
rotate.
said,
They do rotate.
Depends what line you're playing. Depends what team you're playing.
90% of the time, yes. 90% of the time.
Depends what matchup you got.
Tackle.
Depends who else is next to you on the line. I mean, if we stick that other, like, say, what's his name, freaking Tank Booker's sitting there next to Tyree on that certain down, you got a 400-pound nose tackle or whatever next to Tyree, then they're going to double team that guy, which is going to put Tyree one-on-one with whoever. So because they're going to have to double team the 400-pound guy at that point.
I just think if you're trying to move your pieces around on the team to
it just depends.
And be the best. Sometimes it matters. Like if you look at Tyree Wilson and match him to DeForest Buckner, he has almost the same strength.
Yeah, facts, man. I agree 100%.
He has longer arm span. He has a longer arm span than DeForest Buckner. I do believe he's 10 pounds lighter than DeForest Buckner. But I've always said he's a young kid. He can develop. He can raise into that point. But if you're going to try to make someone's career successful, I think sometimes somewhere have to bulk up or strengthen up. Therefore, they can, be able to play in that position. And it's not like he's playing NT. He's not going to be NT. He'll just be inside there to either stop the run, like you're saying earlier, or be pushed outside. And if you're sitting there saying that you can play him more inside, and then a guy like Jaw Joyner play him on the outside, and then if you have to, you bring Tyree out, but it's not something you're just forcing to go back and forth on. I've always said I believe that's what ruins our players. We've done that for multiple people just over the last 5-6 years, and every one of them that's done it are straight trash and traded. Arden Key, Cleveland Farrell, and then it'll be these guys. It's just what it is.
Just talking about Tyree's weight, I don't think he's 275 still. I mean, he was 275 in college, and now he's been in the NFL like 2 years on their whatever program Max was on. So Max was skinnier when he came in. He ain't the same weight as he was.
Max Crosby, he was. Max Crosby was 245
and 10 pounds in 2 NFL seasons.
He went up to 253 pounds.
But the thing you got to remember is they don't weigh people after the combine. So the weight that they've got written on the net is the same weight he was weighed at the combine. So since the combine, he hasn't been weighed again.
Well, I don't know that he's been around on our team. They still put it like that.
Yeah, but he hasn't.
I mean, not
Crosby. They haven't weighed it though. They haven't changed it. Is what I'm saying.
I do know they will change the weight as.
He could be 280 something pounds, but
it's probably about 285 to 90 now. I could be wrong, but I think
his official weight by 7 different programs is 275 at 6'6". Every single program has him at 275 at 6'6".
Yeah, well, that's the same way.
Take it easy.
I don't know.
All right.
Because generally after 2 years,
if I remember right, is only 285.
285, yeah. 290.
290. So
yeah, I mean, he can still gain weight.
I don't think. And again, we're not playing a dominant fucking 4-3 defense, man. We play fucking multi-D where we played.
Yeah, we played mostly a 4-2-5.
4-3. So I mean, but nobody's saying that he's going to go to the NT. Nobody's implying any of that shit.
No.
That's going to play.
He would have to play next to an Adam Butler or somebody else. For sure.
Yeah, and then he wouldn't have to rotate because Jaw Joyner would be there. Jaw Joyner would be able to take over that position.
Yeah.
And then keep the relief there so you're not just working on one dude. Snowden, I've said it. I just don't like it. He's a bit, dude. The guy woke up in his car. He didn't even know what state he was in.
I'm not a fan of Snowden at all.
You gotta go.
Yeah, those guys
said
are
that,
what
but
ruin
he's
your
just-
fucking team, man. Like those
Fuck
guys.
yeah,
Really,
they've been cancers, especially to young guys.
and will he do it under Pete Carroll? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like Pete will probably fucking ream his ass because I've said it. Pete's a good ass dude, but he can be your worst fucking friend at the same time. Like Pete demands perfection. Like that's what I love about him with this team because he demands perfection. So when he's out there with the players and he's out there talking with people, he's always encouraging them. You can do this. You can do this. You know, fucking play this way. Get off this. Come see me. I'll show you how to jam a guy. I'll show you how to protect a dude. I mean, Pete is a player's coach. He's the definition of player's coach, and he could get it out of anybody just about. And I've said it. If he can't get it out of the guy, I mean, I'd probably just think about not getting the guy because obviously he's never going to be good. And that's just my personal opinion. But by the record of what Pete's done, it's facts. You know, it's not an opinion, it's facts. So I think at the end of the day, anybody can miss on anybody. But I think Pete, I've said it. There's so many players where people are saying, like, if you report on every player saying that they're just having this camp, then it's fake news or things like that. And I'm like, why? Because in the first time in the last 15 fucking years, you finally got a coach here that knows how to develop, knows how to put people in the right place, knows how to coach them right. And now
especially defensively,
now they're doing good. People think, oh hell, that it's got to be fake. You know what I mean? So salute, Ben. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, with what you're saying, I was going to say, especially defensively, it's been ages since we had someone on the defensive side that can like build a defense.
Yeah,
that's been our main struggle the whole time I've been a fan is defense, pretty much.
Yeah, he has a structure that he knows how to build, and people know how to play in it. You know,
that's facts. And I just like the kind of guys he's bringing in. Like all our secondary looks like 6'2", 200-pound guys. Like it goes for a certain prototype.
Yeah.
Kind of why we're talking about D-line. I know you might say a bit of clickbait, but the other thing I was going to talk about today, if you want to kind of go from here, because it's still about defensive line, is just the rumors around Micah Parsons wanting out of the Cowboys because he's having a contract.
You have anything you want to add to this, Rudy, to this conversation?
Yeah, Micah Parsons, that wouldn't. I
know
people didn't want to get him originally when he was drafted because of off the field issues, but he is a force. He could play middle linebacker.
I'm saying about talking about our line first.
Our D line, yeah. Like I said, our D line. The one thing I would rather get more physical in the middle, the interior part. I think our edge rushers are even our backups are pretty good. I like our edge rusher room, but I'm more worried is the interior. Like we need to get some size on this interior. When it comes to run stop, we need to get these Jonathan Hinken like guys that are big and bulky, so they can stop the run and then push the old lineman backwards and prevent the running back from, like it's a tug of rope or not. It's a push off contest. And when it comes to weight and size, like big teams like the Eagles and the Cowboys, they always have that advantage. And the only way is to try to even the odds and put some size in the interior, and you got to get these big boys, get these big fat 320 plus pounders in when it comes to the run stop. That way it's a push on you, put your size, make yourself into a wall. And that's what we got to do with our interior part of our defensive line. Rotation, like we say, when it's third and short, I'd put like Tyree Wilson right as a defensive end. That way he could push on the outside and then on the interior part, that's where you got to have your big bulky tanks, because Tyree Wilson's more of a support than a tank. I mean, he's good like pass rushing and all that, but when it comes to power, like size, like 300-pound, you need a big rig. You need a big rig in the middle. You don't want to put a forklift in the middle. You want to put a forklift on the outside and get like a big ass big rig in the middle. So like Tyree Wilson's perfect on, like I said, third and long as a DT, but third and short, I'd rather him as a DT, especially if, like, say it's third and and goal, but it's inches for the end zone, you got to put your biggest guys right there, size for size, because if you don't size up and match up the size of the old line, about 90% of the time, the old line wins that match. They don't even have to get a yard. All they have to do is get an inch or two. That's all they have to do when you're in that situation. So size does matter. So, we got to bulk that interior when it comes to the run stop. But you don't have to have a really bulky interior when it's third and long, though. It just depends. It always depends on every single play, which is why Tyree Wilson is not a true defensive end, but a rotational defensive end, defensive tackle. He's a hybrid player, and and he's very useful. He's not going to. I don't look at him as a Pro Bowler, but I do look at him as a good support. But we'll have to see. I think he didn't really do so great last year, but the year before he played pretty damn good, though. But maybe he'll play even better under Pete Carroll. We'll have to see. He's a defensive mind guy, and he does know how to improve like D linemen, linebackers, and secondary. So we got a coach that can fit three factors on defense. That's what we always lack. Even with Jack Del Rio, we lacked the three areas of defense. We were always good in the linebacker and D lineman. We sucked in the secondary. And then all of a sudden we had a good secondary, but we had the worst D line. And then now we got to work on that secondary. And I think Pete Carroll will improve that secondary, but it's not going to be really fast in 1 year. I think probably by the second year, it'll be a much improved secondary. But I think we'll show some promises. Even when we lose games, we'll see some improvements. Even when we lose games, we'll see some improvements on that defense. And I think the D line, I think he will improve that D line.
Like Tampa fucking over there got that 430-pound dude fucking with Vita. Crazy. All right. All right, we'll move into the next topic, which is Ozzy's one about the Parsons trade. So if you want to talk on that for a minute, feel free.
Yeah, so first of all, before I get into it, is that no one's talking about, it's just, it's just talk. It's just a discussion at the moment. There's no one saying that we're going to do it or that we're going to trade anybody else in order to do it or whatever. But it is food for thought, because as of next season, we have over 100 million in cap space. And that's with guys like Max, Gino, and so on already on the contract. We still have $100 million next year. So there's nothing, we can pretty much, if you look at it from a general manager standpoint, we can sign pretty much anybody right now. We can sign anybody we want, because generally when you sign a guy this year, you have what they did with Max before, which is where you might have them getting only 15 million in the first year of their contract or some shit like that, but then they get more of their money in years 2, 3, and 4 and whatever. So we can pretty much sign anybody right now with the money that we have over the next 2 years, over this year and next year, and going into 2027, which at this point we have 140 million, depending who we sign again and whatever. So that being said, if we're talking about winning now under a defensive coach, I am not against going out there and trading for Micah Parsons. If we're going to trade for anybody defensively, if we're happy with the young corners we have, if Pete's happy with guys Sam Webb, Darian Porter, fucking, what's his name on the other side of Porter, fucking Stokes, whatever. If he's happy with the young DBs that we got, and Jeremy Chin being the veteran in the DB room at the safety, if he's happy with what we got there, so therefore we got cheaper contracts throughout the DB rooms, because you've got to balance shit out somewhere. I'm happy. I'm more than happy to spend $70 million between two DNs. I mean, if you want to have the best pass rush in the NFL, if you have Max and fucking Parsons on each side, you keep Tyree mostly in the middle, like we were just talking about, and then you have Kuntz rotating in for Max or Parsons on a regular basis to keep the pass rush fresh, kind of like what the Eagles did to the Chiefs last year. That's how you fucking do it. Look at how the Chiefs lost. They lost because they couldn't stand up to that pass rush. It just fucking dominated them. It just fucking destroyed the Chiefs, and that's how we got to play them twice a year. So if I'm looking at beating the Chiefs on a consistent basis, I go out and get Micah Parsons. I do.
Slow down.
Like, I have no problem paying $70 million for two fucking Pro Bowl.
You're gonna pay
like, top
75
5
million because he
Yeah.
wants 40 and we pay fucking
Yeah,
five.
yeah. Technically, yeah, but it depends like how you do the signing bonuses and this and that. I think you can get it down to a similar contract to what Max just got, like being in Vegas because you got no state tax and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but even on Max's contract, at some point you have to pay him.
Oh yeah, it's 30. Yeah, if you look at over the cap, so this year Max is getting 32, but if you go into next year, he's getting 30, and then the following year 27. It keeps going down after that. And the other thing I've been thinking about, and people can throw shade or whatever, I don't really give a fuck. But the other thing I'm thinking about is like Max came off a 7.5 sack season last year, plus a knee injury. Like, I'm just looking at everything, right? If I'm being a general manager standpoint, like, I look at everything. I look at injuries. I look at like the analytics of what to expect him coming back from knee surgery, and then from 2023, and then he's coming back this year from a high ankle sprain. Like, sometimes when those things start showing up, it's like you said before. It's like, who knows if he's going to play a full season this year? You don't know. And if you're paying Max 35 mil a year on average, like if you average it out, that's to me is a guy you're expecting to get like 15 sacks a season or 14.5 sacks a season, like he did in I think it was 23. You're not expecting a guy like Max to come out and only put up 7.5 sacks and play 12 games a year. So I'm thinking, like, in my mind, it's either you're paying to have the best pass rushing duo in the league, which I'm not against, especially when, like I said, we have $100 million next year with most of our key pieces already under contract. And that's before you move on from guys like Wilkins if they don't show up or get healthy. That's if you don't re-sign Kuntz, depending if he shows up or not and stuff like that. But with our main guys already under contract, we have $100 million next year. We have the second highest cap. So there's nothing to say we can't go out and get anybody the fuck we want. And then we pay them what we paid them this year with the cap space we have this year, like 15 mil this year, but then they get more next year. Like, they just backload it 1 year because we've got cap coming in next year, plus the cap space will go up again probably. So, but based on what it is right now, we literally have like 95 million right now with everyone on the contract. So that's including Gino on the contract and all that. If Gino doesn't pan out, you cut him, there's another 30 mil. So it's like, we have the money. There's nothing to say we don't have the money to have 2 star DNs on our team. But that being said, let's say Max comes out this year, gets injured again, or doesn't get injured again, but just doesn't live up to that $35 million contract. There's nothing in his contract that says John Saite can't trade him. I'm not saying anyone's going to trade him. I'm not saying about trading Max. I love Max. But if he doesn't play out well the next 2 years, like 26, 27, there's nothing to stop him from shipping him out in 27 for zero dead cap. Or there's nothing to stop them from saying, like, all right, we get Parsons. Parsons is balling out like he has the last 4 years in a row where he's been like, 52 sacks in 4 seasons compared to Max who's only had like 42. And then you got the higher tackles for loss. Like, everything favors Parsons as far as production over the last 4 years. If Parsons continues that trajectory and Max doesn't like live up to his contract that he's currently on, there's nothing to stop the Raiders from keeping Parsons and shipping Max off, and then it's no difference to what you're paying now. So it's either you pay both if Max shows up, you pay both, you keep both, and you have the best pass rushing duo in the whole fucking NFL, like the Raiders were notorious for back in the day when we were actually fucking winning games. Or if one doesn't pan out and Kuntz does show up, you sign Kuntz and you ship Max out. Like, it's a win-win for the Raiders if you sign this dude. There's no loss anywhere because we have the money to keep all of them. Or we can ship one out if Max doesn't pan out. And I hate saying it because I love Max, but we have to be real about shit. If Max's injuries keep showing up, if he keeps like not getting at least double-digit sacks, because that's what you're paying him to do, and you have Parsons on the team, then you have the option to ship out Max if you need to, because you already got another star rusher in Parsons. So I was just looking at it from every angle, and I love Max. My ideal situation is you have Max and Parsons on each end. You have Kuntz rotating the ends. You have Tyree predominantly in the middle next to whoever the nose tackle or whoever the other tackle is. That to me would be like a 49ers pass rush or like the Eagles pass rush at that point. And I feel like that's what we need in our division. We need that Eagle-style pass rush where we can have that constant fresh rotation coming through. And then behind the top 4 guys, you have, that's when you have your depth players like, JJ Pegues and whatever rotating in. I have no problems having like if you include all like the guys behind, like all the DTs and shit as well, and all the young guys, you're probably looking at spending about 80 mil total on your pass rush. I'm fine with that because outside of the quarterback, what's your next most important shit? Getting after fucking quarterback. So, and then if you have a pass rush like that, you don't have so much pressure on your young DBs because they don't have to cover as long. So it plays into everything, in my opinion. Like they say, it always starts in the fucking trenches. So I'm quite happy to pay $80 million to have a good, to have the NFL's best pass rush. Yeah, I say go for it. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, because we don't have a high-paying quarterback, we don't have a spectacular quarterback. That's why we have a lot of cap room, because the quarterbacks usually take a lot of the money in the salary cap usually. But because we're like the same situation like the Bears, have a true legitimate quarterback, even though they have a rookie. But we do defense is if we just try to be a defensive team and all that.
Genius not top 10, Ben. I don't agree with that.
But
this shit trolling.
Getting a guy like Micah Parsons,
Ben's trolling.
But I think that we can with Pete Carroll. He doesn't have to have a lot of playmaker guys at it. He creates playmakers. That's what he likes to do. He'll bring out the best out of a guy and bring the best potential, even out of people that
my nuts.
never.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's good.
So Pete Carroll probably will not care for getting Micah Parsons and plus Vitek and all them. They want to keep that cap room for the future run.
Yeah, top 10 in turnovers.
But yeah, I think it depends. You have a proven defensive coach like Pete Carroll. He's a proven defensive mind, no doubt. But he's going to prove this team, but it's not going to happen in 1 year. I don't believe that. I mean, if he does it, it's that would be the greatest thing that's ever happened since sliced bread. But but you'll still see improvements. There'll always be improvements. The thing is though, Mad Max Crosby could be. He's been getting injured. Last year, he just didn't play because he was hurt a lot because he did too much. And if he has more support, like a Malcolm Kuntz, I think he'll stay a lot healthier because he did more work. When players do more work, they get hurt. Just like Charles Woodson in the past, he got hurt and injured a lot because he didn't have a lot of support. He was the best player on the team on defense, and that's why he got injured a lot,
And Kyle got sacked 60 times and turned the ball over like that, man.
Yeah. So I think that what we got to do is we need to build up, like I said, we have a strong defensive line type of coach, knows how to fix players up, even when players show greatness and then they let them go even before they're prime. But they always find a replacement for them. Sometimes they just let them go a little bit further,
About 3 seconds, so not much difference.
But we've been on in the past with Derek Carr. That's an interesting one. Derek Carr's been used as a whole team, and it's just one player, and he's a quarterback, puts up good stats, but we don't win because he didn't have good support, and then people would always use him as a scapegoat for us losing.
Well, yeah, that's why I find it funny. Sorry to interrupt you, man, but that's why I find it funny when people saying Geno top 10. I'm like, in what? Well, he's not top 10 in touchdowns last year.
No,
he wasn't
he's
top
not.
10. He wasn't top 10 in. He was maybe in yards and completion percentage, but that's about it.
Yeah,
he was also top 10 in fucking turnovers at quarterback too. Going to be top 10 stuff.
Smith, I know people ain't gonna like me saying this, but Geno Smith is kind of like maybe not the attitude, but the ability, like a Colin Kaepernick.
Can you compare Carr and Geno's numbers?
Colin Kaepernick was a great fit under Jim Harbaugh, but when he went to a different coach, James, he looked like dog trash. And like I said,
James.
Geno Smith, Jimmy Garoppolo, Colin Kaepernick, those are systematic quarterbacks. Yeah, they're all systematic. Derek Carr's not systematic. He can fit any system. He doesn't fit certain systems.
I was just going off what Ben was saying, because if you're going to say that, if you're going to talk about Geno being top 10, then Kyle was most definitely top 10. If you're saying Geno was fucking top 10, go by the numbers.
Geno's definitely not I think Geno's a smart quarterback, but I don't think he's a.
He's an upgrade.
Slinger.
Like I don't disagree. He's an upgrade of a Minshew for sure. Like I'm not debating
Oh
that.
yeah,
but
he definitely.
But
He's better than Minshew. Minshew's.
but he's
Minshew's
not
the
top
worst
10, man.
quarterback.
No fucking
Either
way.
way, Geno is not on Carr's level, but either way,
Yeah.
Oh, not even close.
stats are misleading when you go
Yeah.
4,000 yards. You throw 4,000 yards, 20
Yeah.
touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles, total of 24 total turnovers. Those are not good numbers. Not in any
Derek Carr was actually better
no
than in 2016.
life. You know, like those are not good numbers. So
Yeah, Derek Carr
and
is the best
you're
number
like
one
always said about
2016.
quarterback, you're only basing off of what they did last year, not years past that. I mean, Derek Carr has been phenomenal here for this team for a long fucking time, and people swore up and down that he's not a fucking top 10 quarterback.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Keep the
Geno,
same energy, man.
absolutely no fucking way in hell. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, on the Parsons deal, so with Parsons, man, I kind of agree with like say some of the people in chat because of the fact that Parsons would take us 2 first rounds and $40 fucking million. Like we're paying a lot for Parsons, dude. Like
I don't disagree with the cost. Yeah,
right now with Cincinnati, they have 2 options. They don't just have one option. They have the Henderson option, dude, that you can go and sign him and fucking pay him some fucking money or trade for him, but you're not giving up no 2 first rounds. But there's even another option, their first round pick that hasn't signed because they have a stipulation in their contract. So if they want to say they don't want to pay the first round pick and they want to pay freaking Wilson or Henderson, then we can trade for fucking their first round pick. And he's a good player. I would take that fucking DN right away. Like there's not a doubt in my mind. And then you're playing youth, you're playing rotation. I would not suffocate fucking Malcolm Kuntz. Malcolm Kuntz has been here. He's earned that fucking position. And until he shows that he can't play in that motherfucker, I sure in the hell wouldn't be going and trading my future away. And if we're looking at what ifs on Max, I think that's kind of crazy because Max is produced regardless of injury or not. And if we sit and say, yeah, did he have 2 down years where they pulled him because we were a fucking shit ass team, we weren't doing nothing, and it was smarter for the team to be able to get the surgery done? Yeah. Would Max would have played? Hell yeah, he would have fucking played it, you know? So I think there's a lot of, you know, things that go into that of why. But when Max is healthy, he's easily one of the best in the whole NFL. And even at 7.5 sacks last year, still is considered one of the best players in the league. It's because his pressure rate, his fucking forced fumbles, things of those factors. I mean, Max is good. So, I mean, until he proves otherwise, and can he get off the contract? Yeah, he can get off the contract. But in my personal opinion, giving up 2 first round picks and the $40 million, there's no fucking way. There's no way, man. If you're sitting here saying that Spytek goes out here, knocks out this draft this year off of the shit that he had, and we're going to give up his 2 first round picks for the next 2 years, I don't fucking think so. I mean, I'm not down for that shit. I mean, he's going to have a better value in those 2 picks over those 2 years for the team, not just one individual position. So I think if it was me, I would probably try to say, trade for their first round pick, dude. Like that's what Cincinnati's first round pick. If we're going to look to bring in a DN, something I would trade for Cincinnati's first round pick that hasn't signed with them yet. And they're just having issues over the contract. But you think about it, all the first rounds have signed, second rounds have now begun to sign. And this dude still hasn't been able to broker a deal. And I get what that dude's trying to say because Cincinnati put some cheap ass shit in their contracts.
Yeah, apparently they do it every year. Apparently,
if he gets injured at the end of his contract, then they don't have to fucking pay him out, and that's pretty much where they're at on that contract. But he's not taking it. He wants to have his money. He's a first round pick. He wants it fully guaranteed, no matter injury or not.
You're talking about Shamar Stewart at the end of Texas A&M.
Yeah, I take that full right now. I take that full right over here.
I think he had 15 sacks in college or something last year.
Yeah, the dude is no slouch, and if we're looking to try to help out and improve the team without having to take a fucking $40 million cap hit, I would most definitely go that route.
I'm not against it. The point I was making is that I feel like with so many unknowns, you don't know if Kuntz is going to live up to his production in 2023 or not. We have to wait and see. Hopefully he does. Everything says he does because he has Pete, so everything's pointing towards that.
Well, I mean, it depends on how he took his offseason.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Rotation. I mean, when you sit here and look at a guy like Max, I've seen Max damn near all his shit in the camp in OTAs. I've seen him in the fucking
Yeah, he looks good.
Seen him at the fucking sack come in. Max does not look in any way, shape, or form that he.
Yeah, I think we're good with Max.
Fucking knee injury.
For now, anyway.
Max is switching his tail and he's fucking spinning, turning. That he's doing Max shit. So
Max is nothing. His health looks good, but now it's just can he come out and have like a 15 sack season this year? That's what we'll just have to wait and see. Because that's what I'm expecting with the money that we're paying him. We need him to be that at least that 15 sack kind of, like 60 pressure kind of player. Because that's what we're paying him to be. Because he's like our TJ Watt, you know what I mean? That's the kind of level he's got to play up to.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of money we're paying him now. We're paying him like a TJ Watt, so that's the kind of production he's got to do this year.
He actually is paid higher than TJ Watt. The Steelers are still trying to, he wants to get paid because TJ Watt was originally wants to get paid more than Myles Garrett.
Yeah, 15 sacks.
He got a 3-year. He got the biggest contract in NFL history outside of a quarterback.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. And then because they're
Myles
pretty.
Garrett, he was overpaid in my opinion. The Browns.
Paid him. Garrett to me is a little overrated, but he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he is a little overrated sometimes.
Yeah, I do agree. He is overrated, but not a bad player. But I would say he ain't top. I could say a lot of players better.
I've said times where Max is better than him, but in certain areas.
Maybe Max wasn't better than him last year because Crosby.
Yeah, see, Max. So if we're being real, I'm just looking at the contracts right now. So like TJ Watt has the most. Garrett has second most. Danielle Hunter has the third most at the Texans, and then Max Crosby has the fourth most highest contract for DNs. So if you're going to get paid as the fourth highest paid DN in the league, you got to put up the numbers, man. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're paying you for. So it's nothing against Max. I think he can do it, especially if we get some help. But especially if Kuntz can come back to that 2023 form, it's going to free up Max a bit more.
Kuntz is a good weapon against Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes cannot outrun Malcolm Kuntz. Kuntz is chasing, he's not blocked.
And the point,
Patrick can't throw the ball. He has no time to throw the ball. You can't outrun him. The only thing he's going to do is he's going to get sacked. Unless he throws an incomplete pass, really short pass, but he's not going to be able to have the arm strength to throw that ball because Malcolm Kuntz will be at full speed, and he does not have the leg power to throw that ball when someone's chasing after him that's going faster than him. He's got to just throw. He'll probably throw an intentional grounding ball or something, but Malcolm Kuntz has been a nightmare. I mean, I remember his rookie year, he sacked Patrick Mahomes twice in one game. And I can tell you that he is a weapon that neutralizes Patrick Mahomes guy.
And I think that's kind of the point I was getting at, whether it's Kuntz, whether you go get a Parsons, doesn't matter who you get. We just need to have that dominance at each end because that's how we beat the Chiefs. That's how you win the division. That's how you beat the Chiefs. You need to have that dominant pass rush. It's because we're going up against Mahomes, we're going up against Herbert, and now we're going up against the emerging Bo Nix. We need dudes at both ends that can get after the quarterback, and preferably someone in the middle that can at least get 5 sacks a season at DT, or thereabouts 3.5 to 5 in the middle. That's what we need to win the division.
Laser stuff.
Yeah,
we're not going to win the division offensively. We're just not. We're not. The Chiefs offense is ahead of us. The Chargers offense is ahead of us, and now the Donkeys fucking offense is ahead of us. The only way we're going to win games in the division, really dominate the division, especially with the coach like Pete Carroll as a defensive coach, is to have a dominant pass rush like the Eagles got. That's how the Eagles won the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah,
it was that dominant pass rush.
But
the main reason, but it was a dominant pass rush that really sealed it for.
Yeah, the main reason why the Eagles beat the Chiefs is the Chiefs' O-line was busted up. Their tackles, they were playing backups. They were really busted up. That was mostly part of it. They could, even if they did have the pass rush, if they had decent blocking, It would have been a lot closer game, but it wasn't a close game because there was zero protection. I mean, the Eagles
think even
didn't
if they had their,
blitz.
I think if they had their starting O-line, I think the Eagles were ready for them this year regardless because they came so close the other time.
It would have been a close game, I would say, but
so I think because that coach over there, he knows what he's doing building that defense. I mean, most of their guys are out of Georgia and shit, so he knows what he's doing. But
I was kind of shocked though. Usually the Chiefs make adjustments even when they're losing, and they have the tendency of coming back, but they just.
I think it's Kelsey played like shit. That also helped.
Well, Kelsey's getting older, but they are utilizing their whole. They have a better receiver core though. Kelsey was utilized a lot more because they didn't have a good receiver core, but when they had a better receiver core, they didn't throw as much to Travis Kelsey. Because Chiefs, I think it was 2 years ago, they had one of the worst wide receiver cores. They had no Tyreek Hill.
I think it's
and then they didn't even have Juju Smith-Schuster either. They had like hardly anybody, and they depended on Travis Kelsey. They had 1,000 yards with Travis Kelsey, even with Tyreek Hill, but he was being utilized more. And then all of a sudden, they had receiver core, and it kind of like declined on Travis Kelsey. And Kelsey is getting old. Yes, he is deteriorating. And I think this will most likely be Travis Kelsey's last year. I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah, I think the UDFA tight end they got is probably going to replace him.
Yeah, he is getting old, no doubt. He's always been the dominant tight end since the Gronk. That's how it's been for a while.
He's the 5th ranked tight end right now.
Yeah. I mean, his numbers decline, but he's still putting up good numbers anyway. But he usually was the number 1 tight end. It's like going from 1 to 5. It's a downgrade for him, though. But he's getting old now. He can still play and all that, but I do see him. I think this will most likely be his last year. I mean, you think about it, he won a few Super Bowls. He doesn't have to prove anything, but
but I'm just saying, getting back to the point, we got young weapons and stuff, but I think for us to kind of get the edge in the division, we need to look at the defensive side, like containing the quarterback and stuff like that is what we should be looking at. Because we've already got Max Crosby, and if Malcolm Kuntz or whoever else can take the other side and like really solidify that spot, I think that's what's going to give us an edge in the division. I think even if Malcolm Kuntz comes out like 2023, I think we still have the best edge duo in the division.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we need to have. We need to have that pass rush to compete in the division. Because then if you have that dominant defense, you don't need a top 10 quarterback. And if Dustin wants to pull it up, I'm just pulling up an old post because like people can believe whatever they want, but I don't trust everything NFL.com puts out there. Like just because someone says a dude's top 10, it doesn't mean they're fucking top 10. I mean, this is the list like that they put out, and then I don't know if you guys can read the other names, but those are the names that left off the fucking list. And like Baker Mayfield, 41 touchdowns, 69 Ts. You're gonna tell me that's not better than Geno's 21 and 15? Or fucking Jared Goff, who had a better year at the Lions. Fucking Sam Donald had a better year last year. Bo Nix had a better year than Geno last year. Jaden Daniels, the rookie, had a better year. Jalen Hurts had fucking 18 passing and 14 rushing touchdowns last year. Played in the fucking Super Bowl. You got to tell me that he's not better than Geno?
Geno had better weapons than a lot of these quarterbacks. And
Geno had DK fucking Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, all those guys over there.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, I love my team, man, but I'm also real about it. Like Geno's 15 to 20-ish. Like he ain't top 10.
Yeah. Well, last year,
like the only thing I think, and this is what I hate, I think what they do with these rankings is it's yards and completion percentage. That's what they base their bullshit top 10 list off, and they shouldn't base their bullshit top 10 list off of that. Your top 10 list should be based off touchdown to interception ratio. That's what matters. That's the key stat in fucking quarterbacking is touchdown to interceptions, points versus turnovers.
Yeah.
If they did a top 10 list that way, Geno wouldn't even be on that shit.
Yeah. Well, Lamar Jackson, the main reason he improved was because of they added Derrick Henry. They took a lot of so he didn't run as much as he did before, but he still runs the ball, but not as much because he got killed doing a lot of that running and And that was a huge improvement with Baltimore having a dominant running back, because they would always have rotational running backs, and now they got a dominant juggernaut on their team. And
yeah, because the way I look at it, man, you're going to put a top 10 list out there. It has to be what have you done for me lately? So what matters is what happened in 2024.
Yeah, I would. Geno Smith, it just depends. I mean, he's in a tougher division now. The AFC West is much tougher than the NFC West. And
absolutely.
It's going to be up to Pete Carroll. Like I said, Pete Carroll can increase that morale. And the defense, I have no problem with him. The only thing I worry about, this is the flaw I do, the pros and cons of every coach.
Because this is a list of Yahoo Sports. Because, this list here is off Yahoo Sports, right? Which is pretty much the same as the NFL.com list. And if I'm doing my list, how the fuck do you have Joe Burrow at 4, who had 43 and 9 or whatever it was, touchdowns to interceptions, and you got him at 4 and Patrick Mahomes at 26 and 11 at 1? Like, if it was up to me, man, it's Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow last year were the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL last year.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just talking just quarterbacks, like their numbers alone, it's fucking Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow last year by far. Oh, the top 2.
Yeah, Lamar, his passing did improve better.
Yeah, dramatically, because he had 41 to 4 last year.
Derrick Henry,
yeah, facts.
It did, and I mean, he's not a gunslinger. That's the one thing people forget. Lamar's not a gunslinger, but when he moves out of the pocket, does a lot of that play action, especially with the running game. It makes people second guess. I mean, if you think about it, that's been done by even like Russell Wilson. He did the same thing in his younger time, where they run the ball, where he did play action, where he'd throw the ball outside the pocket and everything.
Yeah, because but just so to get people to understand, I'm not hating on Geno. I'm just real about it. Like, if I'm being real, yes, Geno's an upgrade over Minshew. Minshew's like a 20-ish down, like 20, 25-ish quarterback in the NFL, whereas Geno's at least top 15-ish. You know what I mean? So it's still an upgrade over what we had last year. But there's nothing to say that Aiden just can't come into this fucking camp and take that job, and we'll see what happens with that.
Well, if Aiden shows like, I think he can. It just depends on what Chip Kelly, mostly Chip Kelly, because he's on the offensive spectrum. If he, because he could disagree with guys like us thinking that Aiden is the better offensive type because he knows the team very well, and he goes with them. And if Geno's set up to fail and they put Aiden, and Aiden then shows his true potential, even like my brother, when we're with the Rich Gannon situation, he wanted Rich Gannon to be the starter for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then when he heard Gannon going to the Raiders, he told me, "Man, Rudy, your team's going to Super Bowl." And I thought he was being a little over dramatic, but turned out he did take us to the Super Bowl, but we didn't win it. But Gannon was a better player because he was more into the game. I think with Geno Smith, he's a systematic quarterback, just like a Jimmy Garoppolo, but not.
Yeah, I agree with that, and he's a little more mobile. That's about it. Like, he's a little more mobile than a Jimmy G and stuff, but he's not. Yeah. He's not a top 10 dude. Like, he's a top 15-ish dude. I'll give him that, but he's not top 10. He's just not. Remember, like, points matters. Points to touchdown. I mean, points to interceptions matters.
Yeah. I mean, look, he got improved with Seattle. He was a journeyman. Went to other teams. The Jets is the worst team for any quarterback to go to. You don't want to be drafted by the Jets. That's just one thing. If you're a quarterback, you don't want to go to the Jets. You're going to suck. And every quarterback that's been drafted by the Jets is because their system sucks. And if you don't have a decent system, you're going to suck, you know? And it wasn't like
Sam Darnold's proof for that.
Sam Darnold wasn't a bad quarterback. People said he was, but then you look at him with Minnesota. Well, he was a young quarterback that didn't develop right, you know? That's what it is. Quarterbacks still have to be developed no matter how great they played in the draft. And, you know, they go to us, even like Ryan Leaf, he went to the Chargers. Chargers were a super suck team at one time. And what happened with him? Well, he had an attitude problem, but he didn't want to play, and he just like gave up and got frustrated. But, you know, there are guys that sucked, but then later on became good players. Like even Jim Plunkett of the Raiders, he was a bust for the Patriots, and they said he sucked with the 49ers. They went to the Raiders, and he played well, even though in that era, though, it was a running team era. It was mostly running. Now it's a more passing era in this new era. We throw the ball a lot more than we did in the 80s and 90s. I mean, this is a passing. More passing. Running the ball is just not enough anymore. It's about a little bit more balance. You still got to have a running game, so you don't stay one-dimensional.
I'd say it's 60-40 pass heavy, at least.
Yeah, that's about accurate. Yeah, I mean, before, like in the 80s, it was
depending on what team you're on. I mean, the Eagles probably run it a bit more than the average.
But... Yeah, they got the big old line, and they're not in a very difficult division. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the easiest division, but it's not very difficult compared to like the AFC West or the AFC North. Those are one of the most difficult divisions in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, they were once the worst division, and then they're more competitive now. The only division that's the worst of all time is the NFC South. They're the worst division in the NFL. I mean, Tom Brady went to the playoffs with less wins than losses, and they were a fourth seed. Of course, they didn't win a playoff. And then Tom Brady retired and everything. Yeah, that's how bad it was then.
Get people seeing it longer. But yeah, the point I was making, man, we just got to be real about our team. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying Gino's top 15, not top 10. Like, that's just being real about it.
Well,
it's still an upgrade from having like a freaking 25th rank to the dead last ranked fucking quarterback in Gardner last year. Like,
well, it always depends on the coach. That's the number one thing.
It's the coach, the team around you. There's a lot of variables, as they call it, in science, whatever, psychology, what I'm doing. When you're talking about numbers and whatever, analytics, metaphysics, whatever, they call it variables. There's a lot of variables that go into, the quarterback position, like outside of just their raw talent or whatever. Like your line matters, your receivers, your coaching, the scheming of the OC, the run game, whether you got a run game to help you take the pressure off the pass game. Like, there's a lot of variables that go into all that stuff. But at the end of the day, once you factor all those things in, the key stats to look at, like I said, is touchdown interceptions, like how much what's the points versus the points for, points against. Then you got to look at how many, like in the sacks, like how many other sacks are the fault of the line compared to the fault of the quarterback. Like Gardner last year ran into a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
So you got to look at all those factors. There's a lot of variables that goes into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna. I think we're just gonna probably, Pete Carroll and then Chip Kelly. We probably won't be a 60-40 team. We'll probably be maybe a 42 pass and a 50-48 run.
Yeah, something like that. I'd say around that. We're probably gonna favor the run a little more because it will help Gino, or even if it is Aiden, it will help Gino, Aiden, whoever the quarterback is. The run game's gonna help him take the pressure off. I think either way, especially when you go and draft Genty at 6 overall, like you're planning on running the football. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be up to our O-line, though. If that O-line blocks better than last year, then there's a lot of hope,
Jumping into O-line and stuff, then I guess, like, guys, we've got to watch out for is, like, is Alex Kappa going to get back to, like, the Tampa Bay form? Because I feel like Dustin has spoken on before that a lot of what happened with Kappa last year was due to Cincinnati's coaching. Like, if Tom brought the guy in here, he probably thinks that he can get him back to that form he was when he was protecting Tom over them when they won the Super Bowl and stuff.
Yeah, coaching does have something to do with compatibility and it's like even like.
Well, since he's always had a bad line, regardless. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't trust their coaching as far as offensive line. I mean, look at Joe Burrow. Since he's entered the league, he hasn't had a decent line.
Yeah. Joe Burrow's in one of the most dangerous defensive divisions.
And that's why that's also why I say when people use the line excuse with Gino, I call bullshit. Because if that's the case, go look at Joe Burrow. Like, there's a point where you got to say it's not just the line; it's on the actual quarterback too.
Yeah.
Like, is it the line's fault? Yeah, to some extent, for sure. Like, you can put some blame on the line, that's for sure, because it is their responsibility to protect the quarterback. But at some point, you got to also put some blame on the quarterback for their own mistakes.
Yeah.
Because even if you have a bad line, you have the option to throw the ball away and not throw an interception. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's even when you have a bad line, quarterback has to learn where the line blocks well, and if just don't do it. And if it's a veteran quarterback, then he's got to go. If it's a rookie quarterback, you can make improvements on that.
Yeah, exactly. And
like,
I mean,
yeah.
So go ahead. I was just going to say, and if we're going to use that shit as an excuse, what was the excuse for Derek Carr then when he had like that year where he had almost 60 sacks? Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was almost sacked 60 times, still put up fucking good numbers.
Yeah. His brother got worse. He had the most sacks got sacked more than anyone else. He had 72
I think it was 2019 or 20. It was 2018 or 19 when he was sacked. Like they had the number up in the fucking Raiders locker room, like the sack number.
Derek Carr was in the high 50s.
High 50s.
I think it was 2000. It was 18, that's what it was.
Yeah, they had 2 numbers up in the locker room as motivation the following season. I think it was like we only had 13, some ridiculous sacks on defense. Like I think we only had like 15 sacks on defense as a whole that year, something ridiculous. And then we had 52 sacks against us on offense. And they pinned those numbers up in the locker room that year, the following season.
Yeah.
As motivation to get better.
When we didn't have a running game, that's when Derek Carr got sacked the most,
Oh, yeah, I think it was 2018 then. I think it was Marshall.
Yeah, it was 2018, Gruden's first year,
Yeah, because we didn't get Josh until 19.
Yeah, Derek Carr did get sacked quite a bit even in 2017 when we had when we replaced Bill Musgrave with Todd Downing.
Yeah, the Washington game especially, he got sacked like a month.
Oh, yeah, and they claimed they think it was the injury because of Derek Carr, and it wasn't. It was because of the formation. The formations were so readable to the defenses, When you don't have a shifty offensive line, your offensive line is very stagnant. The defense knew that O-line was stagnant. They took advantage of it, and they got to Derek Carr a lot quicker. And it was Todd Downing. He didn't have any slot receivers moving in formation, none of that. And the Raiders had one of the most weakest looking offenses I've ever seen. And Jack Del Rio, that's the day he got fired too. And Gruden, he made it pretty shifty. Wasn't like the air raid shifty offense where Amari Cooper would go in motion at times. And then Cooper, he didn't like Cooper for some reason. And Martavius Bryant was a guy that was supposed to replace Amari Cooper, but then he had that drug thing.
It's just weird too, which is kind of bullshit because they legalized it.
Yeah, Gruden regretted getting rid of Amari Cooper because of Martavius Bryant being gone, because that lessens your weapons. You have less wide receiver room because
Well, we didn't really have a true wide receiver one until they drafted Ruggs in 2020.
Well, at the time, Cooper and Crabtree were like 1 and 2.
I meant the Gruden area. I meant the Gruden era once they.
Gruden just didn't like Cooper for some reason.
No, it wasn't that he didn't like him. I think Cooper just didn't want to be there anymore.
He did improve Cooper though. Cooper did pretty good, but Cooper did overall in 2018. He did get a total of 1,000 yards receiving, but that's including.
I think Cooper was becoming a diva near the end. So Gruden wasn't going to put up that shit.
Yeah, Gruden, well, it was his first year, and he was, like, reevaluating. And him and Reggie McKenzie just didn't fit well. And then Gruden is, like, saying to Mark Davis, Reggie's just not the guy. He didn't get the guys he wanted in the draft. He didn't like the free agents or anything. And then they just they got rid of Reggie McKenzie and got Mike Mayock. Gruden loved Mike Mayock.
Well, most of that 2018 class wasn't good outside of Colton Miller.
Oh, yeah, Colton Miller. Yeah, I didn't like Arden Key. I criticized Arden Key more than anything, and people.
Although Arden Key would have been better if we had a better DC, though it's hard to say with that one because
he didn't fit.
Gunther was a pretty shit DC.
He was the problem with him. I didn't like about him was he was undersized, even though he was a tall guy, but he was 239 pounds. He was kind of underweight. He couldn't stay. He couldn't be muscle bound. He was long and lanky. He looked like he should play.
We should get back to the
wide
topic,
receiver. Yeah.
So, Dustin, did you have any other topics? You guys are kind of going off on tangents at the moment.
Did you hear me? I don't have any other topics.
Oh, I don't have any other topics. Yeah, I can hear now. Did you want to end it there? Then I think that's all.
Yeah, we can end it there.
I think
All
the
right.
only other
I could always save them for the next time we go live.
What was it? If you guys want to keep talking, talk. It doesn't matter. Just,
All right. Well, here's one. It could go pretty
one
quick.
last
Let me
thing
look
on
at-
here is the bet. So you guys got two topics.
Yeah, Charles Grant.
Contract or whatever, and then whatever you guys are going to talk about. So
Yeah. The one I was saying, like Charles Grant, this is just my opinion statement. I seen Charles Grant. He's supposed to be, he's a left tackle that was drafted. I would say right now we have Colton Miller. I know he's like the plan B for Colton Miller. I've been hearing from other people talking like he's going to replace him. I think maybe a year or two or so. But right now, I look at him. He's kind of undersized for a tackle. You know, he's not.
yeah.
I think he needs to beef it up a little bit. But I would do, in my opinion, I would say get rid of Dylan Parham or trade him, put him in the, put him as a left guard or right guard for now, and a backup left tackle. That's what I would do. Get him playing, and then he improves. And if Colt Miller doesn't get signed, and he beef it up, then you put him as a left tackle. You know, because Grant, he's undersized as a tackle right now, but I think
Well, it's
he could beef him
6'5",
up.
311, so it's not too bad. I mean, 6'5",
Well,
311.
he's 6'4", he's 300 pounds. He's like
311.
310.
Yeah, 310,
Yeah, somewhere around
311.
there. But if he can get to 325, that would be a good size.
Yeah, I think you can do that
320.
in pretty much an
He
off-season and a
can.
half.
He can beef it up. He's not, like you said, he still doesn't have his man's body yet, but you could play him as a guard for now and then switch him to left tackle. But, you know, I would say
And
put
if-
him as a left guard and then switch him to left tackle if Colt Miller
if you do-
isn't.
Well, the thing is, if you look at his his next gen breakdown, is he was like rated first for offensive tackles in the 2025 combine as far as production score, and then he was ranked like 13th in
Yeah.
athleticism at offensive tackle.
Yeah.
So he's
So a lot of
definitely
people-
someone that could be the future replacement for Miller, because I mean Miller's
Yeah.
contract runs out at the end of this year. So if they don't re-sign Miller, then that's probably
Yeah.
who they're going to roll with.
Yeah, next year they could switch him. They could put him as left guard net for now, and then switch him
Yeah.
to left tackle.
I
That would
mean,
be the more
that's what I
logical-
would probably do if you want to give him live. If you want him to get some live snaps this year, you could
Yeah.
rotate him in at left
And
guard,
then he'll be a
or
ready
Miller goes
starter.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that way he'll get some live reps, because you need
that's
some
what I
live
would
reps.
do.
Yeah. Oh, you
'Cause I
can't get
don't
rid
like
of
Dylan
your.
Parham.
He's
I don't
too light.
like him. He's
He's
too
he's
small.
too light.
You know.
Yeah, he's too small. But
You know, yeah, 6'3", 285 pounds as a guard. That's small. That's a tight
Yeah.
end size.
yeah, it's pretty small. Or fullback size, like a big fullback. But that being said, like if you're gonna make that change, you need your guy to have live reps this year. Like you can't
Yeah,
move on from a dominant left tackle like Miller without the guy behind him having like live reps to see where he's really at.
yeah,
So
Yeah, I
if you're
mean-
going to make that change, it probably wouldn't be till next off season,
Yeah.
depending how contract negotiations go, or depending whether they sign Miller during the season this year, depending how they feel about Miller, say whatever part, like week 8 of the season or whatever, maybe they'll come to a deal or something. But because the thing is, if your plan is not to keep Miller, like you don't want him to just walk, that would be dumb as hell.
yeah. I would do is
I mean,
two things.
I guess the other option is if they didn't sign him before week 8 or trade him before the free agency ends, is that you probably could franchise tag him and then trade him, I guess.
yeah. I was gonna say that too. Yeah, the franchise
If-
tag would be the smartest thing.
Not
to
that
get some-
they're planning to do that, it's just discussion at the moment. But
Yeah,
it's just, yeah.
better
'cause
get
you-
something for him than nothing, though. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the stupidest shit that happened with the last regime, is letting certain players just walk for nothing. It was just
Yeah.
dumb as hell. Especially the quarterbacks. Actually, like I said before it happened, like their car was probably on the way out just because of the way things were looking. It wasn't that I had anything personal against the dude. I literally made lives about it, saying, you had the Kardashians, and then you had everybody else who's just a Raiders fan. But like, you can't let prime players just walk out the door for nothing. That's just dumb management, in my opinion. Like, you need to know that's why I always say you got to look ahead. Like, you can't just always just look at this year. Like I'm already looking at next year now because that's just how I have my brain operates. And I'm sure that's how John Spytek's brain operates as well. Like if you're looking at things from a business standpoint, you got to look a year ahead because you got to look down the road of like who's the future.
Yeah, especially the linebacker situation too, because they have short contracts.
Short contracts, yep. So chances are, if certain guys don't emerge, like Cody Lindenberg, Tommy Eichenberg, all those guys, if Murray Gaynor, if those guys don't emerge, you can probably almost book it that we're going to get some high-end linebackers next year in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what the old 49ers did with Bill Walsh. They replaced guys. They replaced them quickly. Even when we were like the recycling team of the 49ers, we would end up getting Roger Craig. We even got Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, that's
some
true.
49er players, in the past.
Well, that's the way you got to do shit, though, man. I mean, if you want to be a successful football team, you got to have that rotation between the veterans and the young guys coming through. And you got to do it in a way where, like the Patriots did for years and years and years and years, is that you trade the guys you trade off. You have to trade them off while they're kind of like at the end of their prime, so you can still get a good draft pick out of it. But then, but where another team wants to trade for them because they can use them for that season or whatever they want to do. Because maybe they're making a push for a playoff spot or they're making a push for a Super Bowl or something. So you trade them at a time where they're still the other team trading for them can still get some production out of them, but you're going to get at least something like a third round pick or higher or something, or at least a 4. So then you can go and replace them.
Yeah, well, always get something in value. I mean, it may not be the value everybody wants, but it's better than nothing.
Letting players just walk is just retarded to me from a front office standpoint.
I understand people didn't like Josh Jacobs because of his antics and all that, but he was a valuable player.
Yeah,
and we should have gotten something for him.
The thing that amazes me that I don't understand to this day is you had Derek Carr and you let him walk out the building. Why wouldn't you at least franchise tag the motherfucker on a 1-year franchise tag and then trade the fuck if you didn't want to keep him? It makes zero sense to me. It makes zero sense.
Yeah,
there's a reason you have a franchise fucking tag for.
Yeah, but it's hard to find a good quarterback, though. Very difficult.
Oh yeah,
it was the worst time to get rid of him.
But I'm just saying I don't understand it because that's what you see every other team around the NFL do. Is if there's a player that's a high value player that they don't plan on keeping, they franchise tag him and then they trade him.
Yeah.
So that at least they can get something for him.
Josh McDaniels was already wanted.
I blame Ziegler for that shit. I blame Ziegler for that. He was a GM. He should have done that shit.
But Ziegler was kind of like simping for Josh McDaniels.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, if he wasn't simping, he would have told Josh McDaniels not to do what he did, and he would have still had his job, and Derek Carr would still been on the team. But Josh McDaniels.
He would have been on the team, or he would have been traded. He wouldn't have just been allowed to walk out to go to the Saints.
Well, Derek Carr didn't want to get. He wanted a no trade policy. He would have played on a 1-year contract. He said he wanted to play on it, and he said he would. His agent didn't.
That's where they fucked. That's where they fucked up, though. The no trade clause shit.
Yeah, they couldn't trade him because Derek Carr refused to trade, and then they just let him go.
Yeah, I'd never accept that as a general manager. I'd be like, "Fuck that! You're not dictating that. Like, I'll pay you whatever X amount of money, but I'm not gonna put that shit in the contract."
Yeah, and that's one thing I hate about an owner doesn't know anything about football. I would have told both Ziegler and Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr's the guy, and you're going to do
especially a high value player, man. You can't have no trade clauses on high value players. That's like putting no trade clause on Max. That'd be dumb as hell because you don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, well, a lot of teams wanted Derek Carr. The Saints were the ones they're going to try to trade Derek Carr to the Saints, and Derek Carr said no, and then Saints got him for nothing.
Exactly, because at least the Saints management outside of their shitty fucking head coach, which got fired twice. But anyway, but their actual the front office of the Saints ain't the worst, but their management side, their money management is.
Yeah. After Sean Payton was gone, Dennis Allen.
They've been kicking. It's not just Sean Payton was smart when he left. He knew what was coming with that fucking money. They've been kicking that can down the road for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, Dennis Allen. He's a defensive guy. He was our coach at one time, and he's terrible at management. he thought he would do well with Sean Payton's guys, but then they were slowly going away, and that's why.
Oh, I meant whoever the GM is on the Saints. I'm not sure who that is, but if you look at the way they do their contracts and everything, like they're like a team that's always in the red, but they just keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
But they're going to end up 1 year. They're going to end up where they're going to have to do like a full rebuild, and they're not going to have nobody on that team because of how long they've been kicking that can down the road for.
Yeah.
That's why it's not always good because they keep backloading all their contracts and stuff. That's what the Saints do.
Yeah. Yep.
Which that can come back and bite you in the ass at some point.
Yeah.
That's why I like the way Spytek does it. Spytek does it in a way where they kind of give some of the money up front, but then they push some, like they spread it out a little, and then you've got ways of getting out of it if the player doesn't perform and stuff, or if you trade him off.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, even Max, like the way even Max's contract, like if you look at Max's, he's owed 106 million if he stays and plays for us. But if for whatever reason, I'm saying this is just hypothetical, but if for whatever reason doesn't pan out with him and Spytek can trade him as early as next year, or with like $5 million dead cap. Like he's smart with his contracts. There's always an out if things don't work out. And that's why I'm glad we finally got a GM that actually knows how to write up contracts.
Yeah.
Because that shit can kill your franchise, man. Having bad contracts can kill your franchise. I mean, look at the Wilkins fucking contract.
Yeah.
And the same with the Chandler Jones one before that. So you had the Chandler Jones one before that, then you had the fucking Wilkins one after that. That's what's like, we'd have way more money right now if it wasn't for those two contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, Chandler Jones was a little bit past his prime, and then.
I didn't mind the signing. It's just the way the contract was written up was stupid.
I think he had a little bit of CTI because man, he was going bonkers. He was on Instagram. I watched him on Instagram, man. That dude was going bonkers, man. I think he's got some issues up, in the brain area from having CTE.
Yes, probably CTE or something. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't like to talk shit about the dude.
I think he had a drug abuse problem, but I'm not sure about that one, so don't quote me. But I think he had a drug abuse problem as well, apparently.
Well, even concussions can cause people to do drugs. I mean, people take steroids for concussions. Like Romanowski had a lot of concussions, and he took. I think he took a lot more steroids than he normally would. And you look at him; he was all rushing over people, but then he got injured where he didn't play. I mean, he looked real impressive. We played the Titans, even though we didn't beat them, but he was raging and getting to the running backs, knocking them down. But then he was out. He had injuries. He was all that adrenaline buildup blocked all the pain, and he was just coming out like a roaring, like a feral animal. But man, as soon as those steroids wore down, he was down. His body was in shutdown mode, and like like I said, even concussionized people will take like drugs or like steroids or even methamphetamines or cocaine and all that. I mean, it happens. They do it. That's their false medicine,
Oh, so he did sign one of the players that I wanted. I was just looking at some of our players like that on the bottom end, like the guys on like $1 million contracts and stuff. They brought in that Pat Conroy as well. That's another guy I like. The tight end. Can compete for tight end.
We'll just have to see.
But yeah, because I'm just looking at the contracts, man. Because like the way Spytek is building this roster, if you just look at it from like the money standpoint, because that's what like when you're building a team, you've got to look at that stuff. Like most of our players, like the big names, are signed through to 2028 already.
Yeah,
and then that's including like the higher end rookies and stuff. I mean, the only ones that's got to be signed in 27 probably would be let me have a look. Probably like Jack Bash and stuff if they work out. Just let me have a look. It's 26 or 20 because he's on a 4-year deal. So yeah, like Oh, so signing in 20. I think 20 would be his last season or something like that. But it's probably not showing up on the thing yet. They got an update on cap over the cap. They just signed that yesterday or some shit. But yeah, like if you look at the way things are structured, if certain key draft picks work out, which going off like Tampa Bay's way of doing stuff, they should. We're going to be in a very good spot to get just about anybody we want on this team as far as free agents goes, because a lot of our key spots will be filled by guys on cheap contracts. That's why I'm also like with Dustin on like, if Aiden can take that job, all the better for us, because he's going to be less than Gino.
Yeah.
So like it's best man wins. Like, I'm going to support whatever quarterback wins the job, but at the end of the day, but like we should be as fans, we should want Aiden to win the job. Like that's what we should want, because that would, if you do that, or if that happens, that means you can then trade Gino as early as next year to a quarterback needy team, especially if Aiden can really solidify the QB1, and then say by next off season, Brady and whoever else, fucking Greg Olsen, the quarterbacks coach, are all happy with Cam Miller's development as QB2. You don't need Gino at that point.
Yeah.
And then you can save yourself another $40 million by trading Gino. And then that would bump your total cap space from like 90 mil up to like 130 mil. And then you're telling me you got your wide receiver 2 in Jack, or maybe 1, whoever knows, in Jack Besh, already under contract on a cheap like $900K deal. You got Dante Thornton about the same. You got Trey Tucker, I think let's have a look. I think it's his last year next year, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's his last year next year. So he's still on 1.5 as of next year. I think it's a year after. You've got to look at re-signing Tucker if you want to keep him. I think it's 27. You've got to re-sign him. So basically your wide receiving core would be like, let's just say hypothetically, without your wide receiver 1 is $5 million. So like your slot receiver and your 2 other receivers from 2 to 4 is $5 million. You can go and get any receiver you want at that point. Like, you can go pay a fucking Jamar Chase, right? Because, like, think about it this way. At some point, I don't think the Bengals can keep doing what they're doing, where they're paying 2 high-end receivers, where they're paying Chase and Higgins, especially if they want to get Burrow that protection on the defensive line. They're going to have to spend some money on it. Like,
Chase would be their number 1 guy. They're not going to get rid of him. That's Joe.
Yeah, it's like
Burrow's guy. He'll say if there's a sacrifice, Higgins will be gone before
Higgins. That's pretty much what I was going to get at, is that it'll be Higgins will be the one to be traded. Like, depending how it just, I mean, I'd have to go through their cap space, but I don't think they can keep affording to do what they're doing. Maybe they can, but I don't think so. It just seems unrealistic to be paying 2 wide receivers $80 million. You know what I mean? From a standpoint, like, Higgins, because right now Higgins is on a low contract, because what they've done is they've backloaded it. So the reason why they got Higgins and Jamar Chase on the contract this year is because this year Higgins is getting 13.8 and Jamar Chase is only getting $8 million. But when you get into like the later part, they've backloaded it. I think it's like 2028 or something. Yeah, 2028 is when the main thing hits. 27, 28. It goes up a lot. Like 26, Jamar goes up to 17, and then Higgins goes up to 10. And then 27, Higgins goes up to 19, Jamar up to 23. And then in 28, it's Higgins is 27 and Jamar's 31. I don't think you're keeping 2 wide receivers at 27, 31 million each. Like, and then you got no one on their there's no one on their roster at that point. You literally got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on their team, which is Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Dylan Fairchild, Barack Carter, Jalen Rivers, and Taj Brooks, and no one else is signed. Like, there's no one on the team apart from those guys in 2028. So there's going to be changes made at some point, probably like 27 is when they'll start having to ship players out, or possibly earlier if the right trade comes along. So, like, if I'm targeting a wide receiver, I consider talking to the Bengals, because There's no way they're gonna keep fucking like they could only keep him for a couple more years at best together. They're gonna have to lose one eventually. And no one's gonna want to. I mean, people might trade for him in 27 for like 27 million, but I don't think so. I think that contract's even too high for Higgins. I wouldn't pay Higgins 27 million. That's a fair bit of money. I mean, he's a good player, but that's a fair bit. So, point being is that if we have 5 million for our other receivers like Besh, Thornton, and Tucker, and all we're missing is that key wide receiver one, I'd go trade for Higgins at that point. That'd be a good option because then he can come in and be opposite side of Besh and then or Thornton or whoever you got out there, however you want to rotate it around because you need that extra receiver for 5 wide anyway, especially in the Kelly offense. But yeah,
Higgins would be a number one if he were on our team.
Yeah, facts, and that's what I'm saying. There's options out there. I mean, I had to go for other teams, but Higgins would definitely be an option at some point.
I think Dustin fell asleep.
Yeah, because Jacoby, unless we re-sign him, Jacoby ain't here next year, so 2026 is when we're going to start looking for that wide receiver one. I'd make the trade for Higgins, and I'd tell the Bengals if you're not trading him this year, then I'm not going to worry about it because if you trade for Higgins in 26, it's only. And you keep the current contract that he's on, that you're trading for, he's only on 10 mil. His contract then goes up to 19 mil in 27. So you got 2 years of Higgins on a decent deal under 20 mil. Then 2028 is when you can then renegotiate your contract or maybe do a contract extension if you want to keep Higgins. I'll do an extension in 28 and renegotiate the contract then. Yeah. So you could keep Higgins on his current deal for 26 and 27 and then renegotiate or move on from him in 28 if he doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
That's how I'd look at it. So that's definitely something worth looking at after this year or possibly even halfway through this year, depending how the team is going. But like if it might be something to look at before the trade deadline. Is to look at maybe targeting Higgins just because at some point, man, the Bengals are going to have to move off Ja'Marr Chase or Higgins. They ain't going to be able to keep both of them.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's probably going to be Ja'Marr Chase that they'll keep.
Yeah. With Joe Burrow, he got a big contract.
Yeah. Exactly.
Quarterbacks, that's the killer sometimes. But quarterback is the most important position of the player. But if the one thing about with the Cincinnati Bengals is they're in a very defensive type of league where they face Steelers, the Ravens, and the Cleveland Browns, and they're the more offensive type than defensive type.
Because you know the crazy part. You know what the crazy part is.
Yeah.
This is the most craziest part, right? If you look at the Bengals cap space for 2028, it's at 0. And there's no one on the team. There's 7 active players. There's 7 active roster players in 28 with 0 cap space. So how's that going to work? How are you going to sign anyone? You have to move. Like they're going to start probably shuffling players as early as next year. But yeah, they got to make some serious changes as early as probably 27 at the earliest. I mean, at the latest, because you can't keep working with that cap space. I mean, they have 119 million in 27, but then when you go to 28, they got nothing because that's when the main part of Ja'Marr Chase and Higgins contracts kicked in.
Yeah.
And between Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Ja'Marr Chase, it's like pretty much like $100 million just between 3 players. Like, you can't have it set up like that.
Yeah. If you had your pick between, like I said before, it would be Lamar Chase because Joe Burrow, he's the quarterback and he has a big say, and he's going to say.
Oh, absolutely, because of them. Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow were like in college together, so there's no way they're changing that duo.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, they're most definitely going to do that. I think another team that's kind of like in debt I would have thought. I don't know if they're. I thought they were number one. It was Cleveland because of the Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Yeah, they
And
are.
then Myles Garrett.
I'll double check how much because I know they're a fair. You are right. They are a fair bit in debt.
Yeah, because they're pretty bad.
Let me see.
And
I
then
got to see how they've set it up though, because sometimes teams like they shift stuff around. Browns. They're not at the bottom, but they're down near the bottom. I think they're like the 10th worst or something team. Yeah, see, Deshaun Watson's base salary. Well, what they did is they gave him a signing bonus, so that offset some of the money.
yeah,
That's what they did. So his base salary this year is only 1.25 million, but he got a massive signing bonus on his new contract.
Yeah.
But then in 2020, 2026 though, yeah, you're all right. In 26, they're fucked. They're paying him 46 million in 26.
Yeah.
They're paying, and then they have a void year in 27 and 28 and 29. Holy shit, 3 void years. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he's not off the books completely until 2030. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's a lot. They can't trade him. Nobody wants him.
Yeah, and they got no cap. Oh shit! Yeah, you are right. The Browns are in big trouble. Same position.
They should have never given Myles Garrett. I would have traded Myles Garrett.
Since he's worst off though, because the Browns have 26 active roster players already under contract in 28, but with zero, like same problem, zero cap space, so they're gonna have to shift some players too.
Yeah,
and Browns fans are gonna have to hope like hell that they can draft well the next couple of years.
Yeah,
so they can get some cheap contracts coming through the building and then build from there. So because that's another player that might come on the market is Myles Garrett, because they might just not be able to afford to keep him after 28.
Yeah, Myles Garrett, man, he wanted out, and then what they do? They pay him the highest contract to shut him up because money makes him stop talking. And when they give him that contract, he's like, he was talking about, he made a speech like he's ready to get traded. He's like,
if I was to trade for any player, though, to be honest, if I was to trade with the Browns for any player, right? Like, let's just say that they need to move, they need to ship some players out because of contracts, like to get some money back in the building. I'd trade for that linebacker dude, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or whatever.
I wanted that guy from our draft.
I wanted to draft him a couple of years back. But if we could get that guy off him in a trade, I'd take him in a heartbeat at linebacker.
Because at the time in my draft, I wanted to draft both him, Trevon Merrick, and him, both of them. That would have been a good pick. I would have never taken Alex Leatherwood. He was a guard. He was not really he was a left tackle, but he played left guard and left tackle. He was a rotational offensive lineman. He didn't play tackle that much. When we moved him to the right tackle position, which is where he wasn't familiar with, and that's why he struggled, He was more of a left tackle,
But I think they've signed him up to 2031, but I don't know. They might, his money's not too high at the moment. So I have to wait and see what happens. But I don't know what the Browns are really going to do, because, I mean, you just look at some of their contracts and it's like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb what they did,
But it's definitely the Deshaun Watson contract ain't going to hit him until where is it? Yeah, it's really going to hit him maybe in 28. That's where it's going to. Where is it? 28. I know. 20 next year. Next year is when they're going to take the brunt of the Deshaun Watson contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing like.
Here we go. Yeah, so if I'm trading with anybody, I'm probably looking at the Browns, because they're in the red next year. They're $35 million under.
Yeah.
As of next year, when the Deshaun Watson contract kicks in.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it from this guy. He's a funny guy. He's a donkey, but he talks about all football. And he was talking about the Browns, how they screwed up and everything.
I don't even know how they're gonna. Let me just have a look, because I don't know how they can post June. Fuck me, they can't cut Deshaun Watson. Like, they can't cut him. They don't save any money cutting him.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing they can do is cut Deshaun next year, pay him out
Yeah.
$130 million, and save $50 million, which will put him $15 million in the plus side of cap space.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm just trying to see who they can move off of to like free up cap space outside of Myles Garrett. There's no one, or Deshaun Watson. That's the only two players they can move on from in order to free up the cap space, man. Like, there's no one else that's going to free up enough cap space.
I think they want to get rid of Deshaun Watson.
I think that's
trying to find a way to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think that's the way they do it. I think they're going to probably put Deshaun Watson as a post-June cut, because if they put him as a post-June cut next year, they'll eat $80 million. It's kind of like what happened with Russell Wilson. They'll eat $80 million, and then they won't save anything, but it'll be off the books. I think that's the only way that they can do it. I don't know, man, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Browns do next offseason, man, because right now, they're $35 million in the red. So,
yeah, they are in.
So I'll definitely be looking at if there's any players that they want to trade, man. I'll definitely be targeting the Browns. Like I said, I'll take that linebacker of theirs any day.
Yeah, they're going to have to get rid of some players, even though the main ones that would really cut that debt would be Deshaun Watson or Myles Garrett, but they want to get rid of Deshaun Watson. They want to keep Garrett. That's their best guy, and he also puts up revenue because of his popularity with Cleveland. That's another reason why.
Yeah, because they get money from jersey sales and whatever.
Yeah, they get rid of him. It hurts sales. See, the Raiders, when we got rid of Khalil Mack, it hurt our sales for a while. But when we got Max Crosby,
I was going to say Crosby kind of replaced the thing.
Yeah, he kind of saved a little bit. You know, they're different kind of edge rushers. Like Khalil Mack, he was a forklifter, and Mad Max Crosby, he was more of a bender. You know, spinner. You know, he wasn't a power rusher. He was a bender.
Bailey, get down, mate. My dog wants to join the live, man. Get down, buddy. Sorry, I think my dog wants me to take him for a walk soon.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night too. It's like almost midnight here.
Salute, James. Have a good one, bro. Yeah, James is even heading to bed as well.
Yeah. Well,
where's Dustin though? Because I can't end the live. Only Dustin can end the live.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go.
No, have a good one, bro. I'll just try.
All right, you have a good one. Good night, Raider Nation, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, so guys, we're probably going to wrap it up there. Just going to try and get Dustin come in and end the live. That's why we're waiting for Dustin to come through. I probably can't do the presentation because I don't have access to that. I got to get him to give me access later. That being said, guys, so some of the topics we covered today, we just spoke about our linebacking core. We spoke about how what's his name from our cornerback room, Sam Webb is showing up in camp. We also talked and covered a bit of the rumors surrounding Micah Parsons at the Cowboys, looking like he wants out as a possible option for trade. Because as far as our cap space goes, we're in a great spot with Spytech over the next few seasons. As far as our cap space is concerned, like $100 million next year, pretty much, and about $139 million or almost $140 the following year, with a lot of key players still under contract. So we've got a lot of room to change shit up over the next 2-3 seasons while Pete's here. I can definitely see us turning this defense around. I think we should probably go through the draft or the offense, go through defense through free agency, which is what we're doing so far. I think we should stick with that. I think we should also start targeting certain teams younger players or players that still got a few years left in them, like the Jeremiah Kamara, whatever his name is, from the Browns. Like, they're in cap hell right now. So I think they're a team you can look at possibly trading out some pieces and giving them some draft capital back so that they can try and the Browns are going to have to kind of like rebuild their roster through the draft the way things are going. So they're a team that I would definitely target as far as getting young, decent players, like guys around 26, 28 or younger, to keep building out the core of our team while Pete's here to develop them. As far as offense goes, I think we've got enough pieces on offense already. It's just we'll have to wait and see who pans out this year. If it all pans out, then we're pretty well set on offense. We might not even need a wide receiver one. If one emerges out of the guys we drafted, or if Jacoby takes that next step. But I think it's more than likely that if a guy's to emerge per se, I'll probably be betting on Dante Thornton to be that guy, just his size, his speed, and all that. If he can continue his progression throughout the season, maybe he can become a number one next season, possibly, depending how his rookie season goes. And then you also got Jack Bech, obviously, another talented receiver out of college. If he pans out, I mean, ideally, most like the dream scenario would be Jack Bech and Dante Thornton being your 1 and 2 of the future. With Tucker in the slot, that would be your ideal situation to happen. Whether that pans out, we'll have to wait and see. If I can't reach Dustin in a minute, I'm probably just going to have to hop off as well. But the live will probably still be running, guys, which I hate doing, but just trying to get Dustin. I think it's sleeping. I don't think I can end the live, unfortunately. No, I can't. Damn. Did you get me? All right, guys. The live's probably just going to end up running, but I'm going to hop off. I'm just have to wait for Dustin to wake up and end it, man. I hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you guys on the next one. Later, guys.